Na wadumu wengi wenye wamejikataa katika neno ili tuweze kuwaletea Injili, na wakati tulianza tulikuwa na washirika wengi sana, washirika kama 100, na zaidi ya hayo saa hizi tumeanza kufungua branches.
Most parents to children diagnosed with hearing impairment find themselves helpless and many times confused on how well to raise their children. While many remain in denial and seek very little support, experts and parents who accepted their children's situation say there are interventions such as auditory verbal therapy to assist the children become self-reliant and productive in the society.
This is a gathering that has brought on board parents with children suffering from hearing impairment, children with hearing loss, and key experts. An audio-verbal therapy program organized to educate parents to children diagnosed with hearing loss on how to deal with challenges.
To reach out to those very young parents who are coming up and they don't know what to do with their hard of hearing children.
Opportunities for their children like hearing aids and the cochlear implant, and also how to use sign language in schools.
Ruth Kinywa is a member of Auditory Verbal Parents Association. Her 26-year-old son was diagnosed with hearing problems at 2.5 years of age.
Main thing we did is to accept and took him to an audiologist. He was diagnosed and it was very profound, and we fitted him with a hearing aid.
While many parents choose to enroll their children in special schools, Ruth advises that an auditory verbal therapy has stronger learning outcomes.
He has been in a mainstream school and he has gained his education because he was able to talk through the AVT or audio verbal therapy. Firstly is to get the sound amplified. The ones who can be able to talk, having gotten the right hearing aid, there are some who are not able to talk because they are profound. There is also cochlear implant, and I think we have heard in the discussion that cochlear implant is not for everyone. Cochlear implants takes off any hearing residues.
Professor Michael Ndurumo, a lecturer in psychology at the University of Nairobi, says early assessment of children can help recommend best interventions.
To find a way to have their child assessed. Perhaps it can be in the hospital during birth. Secondly, after that, find which is the best school for their children. It can be special school or a regular school. But the most important thing is when you send the child to a regular school, you need to have interpretation services.
Most parents lack this kind of information and such platforms to engage with experts give parents learning solutions for deaf children that go beyond sign language to review proper community and clinic-based support for the child's development to be fully realized.
Very wonderful. Continues now, where a Sunday service at the Full Gospel Churches of Kenya, Mombasa branch in Isiolo, aborted after a section of the believers jeered the regional overseer over plans to elevate a local pastor, that is Stanley Mutirithia, to the position of reverend, allegedly against the church traditions. Police officers were forced to intervene and protect the two church leaders from the rowdy faithful. This and other stories in our continuous roundup.
According to the Christian faithful of the Gospel Churches of Kenya in Isiolo, the planned elevation did not meet the set qualifications by the church and that it sought to benefit a few individuals.
Wako nyuma kutaka kuchukua ploti hii yetu pamoja na washirika wafanya yao, na wanakuja kupromote mshirika pasa wa branch. Pasa wa branch hawezi kufanywa reverend na nyumba moja. Hiyo si historia ya Full Gospel.
Kama pastor angependa kufanywa reverend ambaye nasikia ni fununu na sijui, inawezekana afanywe reverend mahali pengine, lakini asifanywe reverend katika branch yetu tafadhali.
In Kakamega County, Mumia's East Member of Parliament Peter Salasi is calling on the political class to desist from politicizing the Mumia's sugar company rebirth and operations as he backed the current investor Sorai Group.
Na nimesema hakuna mwanasiasa nitaruhusu ingie huko. Tumesema tuanze kupanda miwa, tumeongana wale watu wa food commodity watasaidia watu wetu kupanda miwa.
Also, police in Kericho are holding 2 officials from the Ministry of Education and 1 suspected accomplice in connection to theft of government textbooks. The 3 will be arraigned in court on Monday.
We acted immediately. Our officers responded immediately, and we managed to recover the items, which was school books, textbooks.
Still on education, Manyata MP Gitonga Mukunji has called on public day secondary school heads in the area who are withholding Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education certificates for Form 4 leavers over fee balance.
Release certificates za watoto waendelee na maisha yao, watakuja kukushukuru wakiwa na degree na madiploma, waseme asante kwa hiyo shule yako.
Finally, drama ensued at the club in Embu on Saturday as rivals scrambled for food. The club had slaughtered a bull for its patrons to celebrate its 3rd anniversary, but some patrons who came late weren't amused that the food was finished. Fortunately, no one was hurt during the commotion.
Thank you, Yusuf Farah, for that report. We now switch gears to the sports news, where the Mombasa County Government sports team left for Kisumu County to take part in the 9th edition of the Kenya Inter-County Sports and Cultural Association Kikoska Games, set to kick off on Monday, that is today. Meanwhile, Kakamega Governor, that is Ferdinand Barasa, has expressed confidence that his team will deliver massive victories in the various sporting categories at the Kikoska Games. 32 teams will take part in the 9th edition of the Kikoska Games.
Speaking during the flag handing over ceremony to the county team, Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir said financial constraints have forced the county sports department to trim its sports team to 9 sports disciplines.
Tutaangalia Finance Act yetu, tutaangalia mambo ya bajeti, kila kitu tutakifuata kwa njia ya sheria. Ni afadhali niwe yule ambaye kwamba natoa sumni kuliko kusema yule ambaye kwamba naahidi shilingi na siitoi shilingi.
Kama timu yetu ya draft miaka yote inakuwa number 1. Na number 2 miaka yote inakuwa badminton, ikifuatwa na ngoma. Na hizi nyingine mara nyingi hutolewa katika semis kama football, na kwa watu wakimbiaji kidogo watu wachache tuna kama watu 15.
The Kikoska Games have attracted more than 35 counties who will battle it out in football, handball, basketball, netball, squash, badminton, tug of war, Scrabble and netball, among other sports. Meanwhile, Kisii Governor Simba Arati has vowed to address the challenges faced by sportsmen and women whenever they take part in inter-county games and other assignments. Speaking when he flagged off Kisii County team to the Kikoska Games, the governor assured team members of full payment of their allowances, among other entitlements.
But let me urge you to be our good ambassadors out there and depict exemplary conduct, the best of Kisii County.
Arati challenged the team members to reciprocate by excelling, adding it is a good opportunity to re-energize for better service delivery to the public. 32 teams will take part in the 9th edition of the Kikoska Games.
Well, that story on Kikoska Games brings us to the first break of the program, but we'll be back with more sports news, so stay tuned.
What makes up the air we breathe? Let's go. It's technology. Let's go. Science, you and me. Let's go. We're learning every day.
Let's ask, let's learn, and let's love. And don't forget to make it fun.
What happened?
There's nothing in here you can't find online. And all these headlines just put me to sleep. If anyone tomorrow acts like the intern did, they won't just be leaving the meeting room.
How dare he say my makeup choices can't even compare to a discount vendor?
You said my costume choices aren't up to red carpet standards.
Is that he doesn't like that all of us come across as unambitious.
What I hate now is that I have to put on a show for him now. I have to lie to him again and again. I have to convince myself there's only a few more lies left.
So then tell him now.
Welcome back. KCB edged Kariobangi Sharks 2-1 in an entertaining FKF Premier League match played at the Kasarani Stadium. Meanwhile, Ulinzi Starlets moved to second position in the FKF Women's Premier League after a 3-0 win over Thika Queens at the Thika Stadium.
Erika Dem gave KCB the lead through a penalty in the 35th minute. Michael Mutinda doubled the lead in the 95th minute. 2 minutes later, Kariobangi Sharks' Kevin Musamali pulled one back from the penalty spot. Meanwhile, Ulinzi Starlets moved to second position in the FKF Women's Premier League after a 3-0 win over Thika Queens at Thika Stadium. Sophia Odhiambo broke the deadlock for Ulinzi Starlets with a goal in the 19th minute. Joy Kinglady pounced in the 62nd minute to make it 2-0. Georgina Karani's own goal in the 94th minute sealed the win for Ulinzi Starlets. At the Mumboha grounds, Bunyore Starlets hosted Vihiga Queens in the Vihiga Derby, which ended in a barren draw, while Kangemi Starlets lost 6-1 to Zitex Sparks.
I think ni uchovu because like I said before, namba yetu ni kidogo. We have other players wako na injuries. Kuna mwenye alipewa red last time, so unapata hizi games zimekuwa 3 kwa wiki moja, zimekuwa na ile na zimekuwa mechi ngumu. So I think ni uchovu ndio imeonekana imetucost leo, but players wangu wamecheza vizuri.
Game imekuwa poa sana. Kwanza nimefurahia zaidi because Thika they are the defending champions na getting 3 points tukiwa kwao ni jambo muhimu tena zaidi na a lot of motivation. Najua imeingia kwa wasichana and now our duty is only to prepare for our next match.
A look at golf now, where Zimbabwean professional Robson Chinhoi took an early lead at the Par 72 Sigona Golf Club course, where the 2022-2023 Safari Tour resumed with the fourth leg, which attracted a field of 55 players, including some from Zimbabwe, Uganda and Malawi. Chinhoi, who has dominated the tour over the past 3 years, shot 2 under Par 70 to lead by 1 shot from Muthaiga's Greg Snow, who shot 1 under Par 71. The top 2 were followed closely by a group of 5 other players on level Par 72. Leading this group was senior professional Dismas Indiza, while others were Edwin Mundanyi, Eric Oko, home pro, that is John Wangai, and Muthaiga's Mutai Kibugu. The tour started with the Uganda Open last October, followed by the second leg at the Limuru and Vipingo at the coast.
Better scores, leading the order of merit is a very good feeling, and Nyasha, followed by Nyasha and Visitor, and I wish everyone who is going to make it for Kenya Open the best.
Rally youngster Hamza Anwar says he cannot wait to drive on snow and ice after he was selected to compete in all 5 rounds of the FIA Junior World Rally Championship. Hamza is to compete inside Europe for the first time in his career and is one of Kenya's latest promising young talents who made his WRC debut at the Safari Rally Kenya in 2021, steering a Fiesta Rally 3 to second in class. The reigning FIA African Rally Championship junior champion and third best at the continental level last year makes up the flurry of upcoming stars waiting to make their junior WRC debuts this season, following the confirmation of the full list of 2023 entrants. Next month's opening round at Rally Sweden on the 9th to the 12th of February marks the 24-year-old's first rally on snow. Now, Italian side Lazio boosted their hopes of qualifying for the Champions League after registering a comfortable 2-0 win over Sassuolo at Mapei Stadium. Mattia Zaccagni converted a penalty in the first half stoppage time, and Felipe Anderson sealed the result right at the end to help Lazio move to within 3 points of their Inter Milan, Juventus, and the final Champions League qualifying spots. Thank you so very much for keeping us company from the beginning of the program here on Good Morning Kenya. We still have a lot lined up for you, and so I'll be taking a break right now. Remember that you can still get more news in our subsequent bulletins later on in the day. Right now, I want to hand it over to Victor, who will be taking us through the interviews in I and Politics. I'm Marie Ambo. Until next time, do have a great day.
All right, let's take a look at some of the stories that we have today. But before then, let's go through the local dailies. I got the 4 newspapers here: the People Daily, the Star newspaper, the Standard, as well as the Daily Nation. Let me start with the People Daily here. On the front page, Ruto allies dilemma on law review. Ruto allies dilemma on law review. President has signaled he wants Supreme Law change to create Office of Opposition Leader and comply with the gender rule, but legal experts say that he cannot initiate review yet. He has written to MPs to act. What options do they have? That is on front page. Ndungu shakes up KRA board weeks after Mudaura's exit. A lot of changes still taking place in the current government. Medics Union protest SRC move to reduce pay packs. You can also take a look at that story. Kenyan who conquered Mount Everest crowned Nyeri hero. An interesting beat there for you to take a look at. Law experts split over Ruto's bid to change constitution. Remember, there is that quest to have the office of the official opposition, but pundits differ sharply on viable route for president's initiative lest he suffers same fate as BBI. Remember, Honorable Raila Odinga said that for them to have a discussion there, they must talk about BBI. Sakaja, I'll not back down on the club's order. Of course, Nairobi governor advises bar owners to soundproof their premises if they want to continue with businesses. In the recent weeks, there have been that back and forth between this governor and the deputy president. Ruto reads out Act 2 ward reps over positions. President tears into Kericho County Assembly members engaged in cyclic leadership contest since August polls. He talked about it yesterday during an interdenominational prayer in Kericho. Let me take a look at what we have on the star here. Very quickly, Rachel. Hustler Gospel targets 1.2 million women, plans to go big on the table banking and environmental conservation. That is on the front page. Now, gardener sought after consultant Muiti killed. Police are pursuing a gardener suspected to killing the founder of the Leadership Institute of Kenya, Dr. Gershon Kimeu Muiti, in Nairobi on Saturday. The body of Dr. Muiti, 81, was discovered in his garden after the gardener Bernard Komu said that they had disagreed over his pay on Saturday afternoon. Police are still investigating the matter. Now, the big story here again, IBC chiefs to launch poll report as they exit. They are exiting tomorrow. Actually, the remaining IBC commissioners will today preside over the launch of 2022 post-election evaluation report, their last public function before exiting office. Let me take a look at what we have on the Standard newspaper. Junior secondary, the great divide. Now, head teachers are rushing to prepare facilities for the start of new term, but a visit to schools shows public primary schools have no laboratories for new curriculum and others reporting inadequate number of teachers while private schools are all set. Now, that is a slap to the public primary schools. Will kick out cartels in food chain soon. That's according to the president. Kenyans abroad send home 500 billion shillings. Details will be taking a look later on. And finally, on the Daily Nation, the murder plot, that is a complete departure on all the headlines I have here. Police are investigating claims that Nelson Ndereba Njeru had gang to kill wife. It's a story that is quite touching. Actually, it's a human interest story. But she said that the wife instead paid her alleged attackers 1.3 million shillings to spare her life. Form 1 placement results to be known today. It's a story that many people and even the education sector are taking a look as they say that the Form 1 placement is going to happen today. So let's wait and see how that is going to pan out. All right. It's now that part of the moment that we get into the real gist of the discussion, and with me in studio I have got two gentlemen, two great minds on set. I have got Crispus Wathimba, who is an engineer and a political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us, engineer. Asante sana. And right in the middle is, for the first time on live television, Governor of Kilifi County, Gideon Mungaro. The last time he appeared on television probably was still a CS. But as it is right now, he's the governor of Kilifi County. Governor, welcome to our studios.
Thank you. Thank you.
How is Kilifi? Let me start from there.
Well, Kilifi is good. We are moving on. We are all set now. We have set our county executive, and now we are moving on.
Yes. When I told Crispus that you are coming on set, the first thing he told me, I hope he's coming with cashew nuts. We don't have cashew nuts on set here, Governor.
Next time.
Next time. Okay. Gentlemen, let's talk about what's happening. The president was in Nyanza over the weekend, and that is a complete departure from a majority of people, what people expected. People expected to see a different kind of approach, but that did not happen. And, you know, it's now a talk that many people are now taking across board. Let me start with you, Crispus. Are we seeing a situation where, you know, opposition leader Raila Odinga is now accepting the situation that is now over and people are now moving on?
Well, I want to first congratulate the president for taking the bold step to demonstrate leadership by reaching out to those who did not even vote for him.
Yeah.
Because one important thing that we need to reflect on is that this country, we have serious economic challenges that require political leadership to solve them. And therefore, for him to have taken that decision to reach out to Luo Nyanza, we need to stop reading too much politics, but look at the economic opportunities that Luo Nyanza can bring to the rest of the country if we are part and parcel of the conversation of building this nation. So Raila may feel threatened, but it's also important that he realizes that it is good for his people to also work with the leadership of William Ruto. There will be no other president between now and 2027. And the national government needs to work with the county governments, both in Luo Nyanza, in Coast, and any other places where Ruto was not elected. And therefore, it's important that the leadership of the opposition embraces the fact that we must exercise what we call bipartisan politics when it comes to governing issues of economic, social welfare of the people, and set aside politics for the time of politics. The season for politics is over. Right now, we need to deal with hunger. We need to deal with issues of food production, building the economy, and building that infrastructure that we can rely on over the next 5 years.
Governor, this really happened, and you are Azimio affiliated.
Yes.
But somebody would say that, you know, the kind of reception that the president has been receiving all across counties, people never expected that to happen. If the president would come to your county right now, would you do the same?
Yes, of course. He was there already.
Yes.
We have had meetings with the president. We have visited Galana Kulalu. I think even Baba himself gave direction on the reception of the president in Nyanza. Probably if he didn't, it would have been different. But I think one thing we must all accept that after the election in August last year, Kenya has moved on. You can see the difference between all the years and last election, that you didn't see one single demonstration. I think Kenyans have decided now, after our team of Azimio went to court and the ruling was done, people accepted. Kenyans have started to learn that there are institutions which exist, and once they make a decision, then Kenyans abide by it. It happened during the BBI. It happened now. And that tells you how mature our democracy is becoming. And I think there's nothing wrong to receive the president. As engineer here have said, is that between now and 2027, there's no other president. So the sooner we can all adopt to this and move and work for Kenyans, the better.
But it's a complete departure. I mean, the president even talked about it, Crispus, because he said this region belongs to so-and-so. And, you know, when actually even said that some part of the media said that the president was raiding Raila's home turf. And he said that, no, that's not the truth. We are all Kenyans and we are taxpayers. The point that the president was in Nyanza province and the kind of reception that he received, a complete departure from what happened the first time he was there. None of the legislators affiliated to Azimio were not there. Is there something like silent handshake?
What I'll probably say is that this time he was more prepared. He definitely went to Luo Nyanza, having consulted widely, having worked with the local leadership to make sure that the reception he receives is going to give a reflection of the kind of unity he wants to bring in this country. And I think for him to have gone to Luo Nyanza this time around and being received the way he was received, it has really shifted the temperatures of this country in terms of if the people of Luo Nyanza can receive William Ruto this way, then who are we to start saying that we are not working as a country, we are not working united? And therefore, he has done a good job, both with the local leadership, in as far as they are saying they are not in government. I think as we move forward, we may start seeing some of them being given positions to work with this administration. And that will improve the relationship between Luo Nyanza and his government. And we believe by 2027, the 1% he got will probably have a double digit on it, as opposed to the 1% he got this time, probably get 10 or 20%. His numbers will improve as we move forward. And that will be good for the country, because there are assets in that region that the rest of the country requires. There are assets in that region we need to invest more in so that we can benefit as a country and as a region. We have the shipping yard that is there that needs to help us in terms of logistics within the East African region. If we keep Luo Nyanza out of the ball game, how are we going to participate in the regional economics of this country? Yes.
Governor, what's so special about Luo Nyanza? I mean, the president has been there for the second time and it's the talk of the town right now. What's so special about it?
You know, in politics, you always have to keep an eye on the area where you did not get support. Normally, politicians tend to sometimes even relegate a bit their strongholds so that they can capture the areas where they did not get support. I think what is happening is the president also has decided to say, now I'm the president of Kenya. For those who did not vote me and those who voted me, they are all Kenyans. I have to serve everybody equally. And I think he said that after the election. We all said that in our own capacities, that now elections are over. Now the service you deliver, the road you build in a village in Kilifi, those who voted you, those who didn't vote you, will benefit from it. Yes. The piped water, the medicine in our hospital facilities, everybody, the ones from all the parties, also benefit from them. So I think the president and also the warm reception, I think, was also in the appeal Baba did the days before. That yes, the leaders of Nyanza should welcome the president, which I think was also good. Yes, I think that also made everything easy, because days before the Azimio leader announced that the Nyanza leaders should embrace the president and welcome the president into Nyanza. I think the party leader knows that, Azimio party leader knows very well that in this country now our laws are very clear, that when you have a dispute of the election, you go to court, the Supreme Court, the highest court of Kenya, and that after that you have nowhere else to go. Yeah. So I think he has come to terms, and the voters have come to terms that yes, the court ruled that the president of Kenya now is Dr. William Samoei Ruto, and you cannot change it.
Do you have a direction from the Azimio leader?
No, we don't actually. In our talks we have had Baba has said that there will be an audit of the election, but I think we are all in agreement with him that as leaders, especially governors, that we have to work with the government. We are not even trying to embrace the government. It's constitutional that the national government and county governments will work together. It's constitutional. It's nothing we are.
It's not a threat to Azimio that Azimio-affiliated legislators are working with the government.
No. It's not. It's not a threat. I think we have three arms of government when you come to the national government. You have, of course, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. Right. And even the members of parliament who keep on saying that we're in government, I think they are wrong, because all the members of parliament are in the legislative part and the executive. So they are supposed to be working together anyway to keep the government on check.
Yeah. Okay. Is it something like a bait? The president have been given that free will. Okay, you can approach, you can go any part of the country, whether it is Azimio zone or otherwise. But somebody would argue that the president is given that free will so that come 2027, you promised to give us ABCD you've not achieved. So that will be like a point of attack to the opposition leader come next election.
Definitely, he was not given an open check when he went to Luo Nyanza. Yes. Definitely, there are things that the people of Luo Nyanza expect from the various visits that he will make, the various inroads he will make. And the challenge will be, if by 2027 he will not have measured up, the people of Luo Nyanza will still speak to their leader and ask him what is the direction we are supposed to take. And therefore, his relevance towards the people of Luo Nyanza will be measured on the basis of what he will deliver for them over the next 5 years. As for Raila Odinga, this is their son, this is their Baba. There is whatever direction he will tell them to go 2027 will be the supreme decision. As far as we know the history of the Luo Nyanza, they follow the direction that Raila makes. But we believe that there is a possibility as we progress, as Kenyan politics matures,
yes,
definitely the influence of William Ruto will grow as we move on, based on the kind of relationship he's going to sustain. If the economic agenda that he's going to achieve for the people of Luo Nyanza, probably it will have one or two influence. If there are people who will bring on government, who will work to support and influence the grassroots support he requires, definitely the numbers will change. But I don't see that shift, that being so dynamic that come 2027, the majority of Luo Nyanza will vote for any other direction other than that, their support that required by Raila Odinga. Yes.
So, Governor, based on that, somebody would argue that you're just picking from the national government and let's wait for election. You'll shift towards that, the other side that campaigns this same government. That's hypocrisy.
Sorry?
That's hypocrisy. Why are you taking from the national government and to come towards election, you'll start campaigning as this government?
We are not taking anything. It's our right.
Right.
I think the government of Kenya is supposed to deliver services to all Kenyans. All Kenyans pay taxes. The president even pronounced himself on that.
Yes.
And that it doesn't matter from which political divide you come from, that you will still get the services of both county and national government. So I think what is happening is, as you know, in this country, there's different leadership from different regions. We have had President Kenyatta on the Mount Kenya till recently. I still believe he is. I don't know what the people of that place perceive him now. But in Nyanza, you can see only that one pronouncement that you please make sure you welcome the president. All the leaders, including Oburu Odinga, were there.
Yes.
So it tells you that if Baba did not pronounce himself, things would have probably been different. Yeah, but he pronounced himself. You saw the last trip you have that when the president went, everybody was scared to come out. I know I've had the same talks back home. People are saying, there was a lot in the social media that when the president came and we were found there, me and Abdul Somad, and everybody was saying, we are from Azimio. We said, you know what, we are county governments. We have two governments in this country. Yeah, we have the 47 governments. We have 48 governments. If you see the logo of the county government, the COG, it's very clear. We said one Kenya, 48 governments. We have one national government and we have 47 other governments. So we have no choice. We have to work with each other, and it's constitutional. It's not directed by parties. So when you see us working with the national government and the president, it's not a question of who should work with him or who should not.
I will ask you that question because some talks are around the corridors that Azimio governors, are warming up to the president, probably just to get whatever they're getting from the national government, and might soon leave Azimio. That's a question that I'd love to ask you and want to answer right after we come from this break. We still have Engineer Christmas Mathimba on set and Governor Gideon Mungaro of Kilifi County. Let's take a break. We'll be back with more.
Matope usiwahi itwa na ujuu unaitiwa nini? Hapa kwani tunaishi kwa chesi ati mahali ukiambiwa fly over, you ask questions when you are flying above.
You fly under how high, unasema how who. Unajua huo mama kaya anatuangalianga anaona sisi ni kama ni slaves.
Hebu kaeni chini, mnasalimiana nini hapa? Mmekuja mmechelewa alafu mnaanza kusalimiana.
Hapa jamaa. Huyu mgeni anaitwa nani?
Sijui lakini itaema ndevu.
There's between a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star and a 5-star hotel.
1 star. Yani okay, 5 star is 5 stars inawaka kuliko 1 star.
Anasema nyota ndogo.
Nyota ndogo. Huyo ni muimbaji.
At your border crossing captured a person of interest. Tunaamini kwamba Imran Saidi ndio Burhan's new bomb maker.
Tulikuwa na Burhan's new bomb maker na tukamwachilia.
Jamaa hakuna itilafu yoyote hapo chini, sawa?
Tukishajua pale ameshikwa, tuta proceed with Operation Silent Night.
Hii ni lele. Ngoma bado. Wahuen asoso.
What do you have in mind?
Kisima drops good morning. This company is where it is because of me.
I know you will never get tired of reminding us of the fact, but I'm not going to let you ruin this company because of your fights with Melissa.
Calvin is doing drugs.
I thought you were changing your ways. You have disappointed me once more.
I used to think that you'd do anything for this. But now you've become this person who ruins things that have taken people years to build.
Just hold on. Roger.
Istanbul kutoka kwa hii kampuni. Nani mwingine mwenye anaweza faidika financially?
Melissa.
Tunachunguza mauaji.
Unanishuku.
This is my company, and no one is going to take it away from me.
I am taking over this company.
Itabidi mimi na wewe tuzaane. Tujaze ofisi sawa.
Forget about it!
All right, and welcome back. We're still having a discussion today on politics. We want to circle a number of issues. And Governor, before we took a break, let me just ask you, is there a threat to break Azimio or ODM?
Azimio, I don't know because I'm in ODM.
Yes.
Azimio is another big elephant. I'm a member of ODM in the Azimio coalition. But I really don't know what the management team, there's a lot of talks, you know, but you heard Baba say the other day that even the issue that the president who was the former president who was the chairman is not leaving. So we believe that is the story, but for now, as we basically said, yes, we belong to our parties, but we have to work for the people of our counties. We have sworn to protect the Constitution of Kenya. When you swear in after election, you don't swear to protect the people of Kilifi.
The people of Kenya.
The people of Kenya. So we are working with the government. We will work closely with the president because I think we have no choice. It's by Constitution. But that does not mean that we have left our parties. We are still in our parties, but we will still support the government of the day. I think it's just good that for now, for going forward, Kenyans have shown us that they are mature enough now that for the first time, and you have seen it over the last 3 elections, the cycle have a bit changed. Even when we had chaos, we were not those massive chaos of 2007. Because I think Kenyans slowly are trying to adopt that we have an election, yes, there will be a winner, there will be a loser, but life has to go on.
Life has to go on. When you look at the whole scenario, because at the end of the day, someone will have to be a casualty out of all this. 5-year cycle in politics is a very long time. Also in Kenya politics, quite dynamic. You all understand how it is. And Perhaps this might come out to haunt the president, according to me, might haunt the president, if he overpromise across the country, and then come 2027, very little is achieved. Do you think this will be like a launching pad to attack him for 2027? And who will take the brunt?
Going by his record in politics, I think he's also very much aware that whatever he promises might not be achieved 100%. And therefore, he's probably already preparing a narrative that will be able to be given to Kenyans so that they can be able to accept the reality. For example, when he came in, he said, when I put the Bible down, the prices of fuel will come down. The price of food will come down. But up to today, the price of fuel and food is still high. But Kenyans have come to accept the way he has explained the issue. I think one of the things that he's gifted with is being able to communicate even difficult matters in a way that Kenyans are able to consume them without a lot of pain. And I believe even if their failed promises come 2027, he will be able to communicate in a way that Kenyans will be able to accept. Guys, look here, he tried his best, he was not able, let's give him another chance. The challenge will be now, come 2032, where definitely he has to leave the presidency, having served over 10 years, and he has no room to explain any excuse. We don't want him to suffer the kind of fate Uhuru Kenyatta has gone, where even some of his successes were never celebrated when he was president. It's only probably in the next 2 or 3 years, Kenyans will realize, hey, this man did some work, but when he was there, we did not treat him with the respect he deserved. So I hope and pray that by the time he reaches 2027, even if there are failed promises, even if he's given another chance, by 2032, he'll be able to deliver on the entire promise of Kenya Kwanza.
Where does this leave Raila Odinga as a person?
Looking at the age of Raila, he's just celebrated the 78th birthday. By 2027, he will be probably 83. He can still run for presidency, but I don't see the energy.
Crispus, I mean, really?
There is no...
No, we don't have an age limit, right?
Yes, there's no age limit, but if he wants to, he has every right to do. The issue, does he have the energy to do it? Will the people accept? Will the people give him a chance? There is a Prime Minister of Malaysia who came in at the age of 96 because the people wanted that change. So we don't rule out the possibility of Raila running at 83. But if he doesn't, who is he going to mentor to become that person?
That is a big question now. Yeah. All right, and probably the governor can tell us, because in the ODM circle, who is the parent here?
There hasn't been a really talk on parent here. Normally in the African tradition, you cannot discuss about inheritance when your father is still alive. So, but like engineer have said, you know, the decision of who will run on ODM come 2027, it is from the membership. It's not Baba who will decide that I will run, or anybody else who will decide what happens. There's party organs, there are party structures. They will decide, although sometimes many people believe, oh, you know, it's automatic, but the party membership will matter a lot on decisions on, yes, do you front Baba? Is Baba ready himself to run again? Does he have the energy, like engineer said, to traverse the country? Or has the party has a plan B? All this will come when time comes. It's too early now to discuss these things. I think we have just come out from an election. Now we need all to concentrate on development and see how we build up Kenya and our various counties. And that's what is going on at the moment. And Baba comes once in a while to say jambo to us and encourage us to keep on working. He has never been. I was with him on his birthday, and he has never incited any of us saying, oh, you know, you have to do this to the government, you have to do that. When he comes, he says, you know, you have no choice as leaders. You have to work with government. And he pronounced himself even at my homecoming party. So I think sometimes people want to paint Baba like somebody who always want to make trouble. but I think he's one political leader who is mature enough, and he knows when to hit and when to retreat.
Yes, retreat.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what was witnessed in Nyanza. I mean, nobody would have expected. The first visit, even the first governor, of Homa Bay was not present. But this time around, she was actually the one who received the president. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about service delivery. But just a bit, now that you belong to ODM, let me get this point of, from ODM perspective. Is there a power struggle within ODM and Azimio?
I think within ODM there's no power struggle. I don't know, there might be some issues within Azimio which I'm not privy to, but as an affiliate party, as we have, when we meet as a ODM.
Yes.
Yeah. And this was happened always, that all the affiliate parties meet on their own, then the party leadership meets as a summit by themselves, and then the party leaders go back to their different parties and speak with their membership on the decisions made for Azimio. So far we have not heard of it, unless it's within those ranks. Us as membership wouldn't know. We know that as ODM has its chairman, its secretary general, and the other organs, all the way to the grassroots. So any struggles, maybe within Azimio, but not within ODM.
All right. Maybe within Azimio. Of course, you've said that you're not privy to such kind of wrangles. We'll excuse you for that. But then, all right. So moving forward, the president is quite hell-bent to make truce, to mend bridges. Election is over. But one thing that we have to talk about, and Governor, you'll also chip in on this, the issue of the MCAs and the county governments. He coughed at the Kericho MCAs who had their issues in the county assembly. Perhaps the director, you'll play that clip later on, where the president was actually coughing at the MCAs. But when you look at the formation of the county governments at the MCAs, are we seeing a situation where we are going to have a repeat of what happened in 2010, 2013, and the successive kind of governments where MCAs and the government and the governors were not in a position to understand their positions pretty well?
I think the challenge, I ran for speaker in Nakuru County.
Yes.
And one of the things that I realized is that in areas where the MCAs are from one party, where there is no clear political divide in terms of the ideology, there is always a challenge where you end up with a speaker who is put to the MCAs by the party, and sometimes that speaker may not provide the kind of wisdom and leadership that is required to manage the affairs of the assembly vis-a-vis the relationship within the executive. I think in areas where it is the MCAs are one party, the governor is one party, the whole political color in that region is one party, there is always that challenge where there seems to be wrangles within the same formation. For example, in that area, Kericho, governor, MCAs, they are all UDA. The speaker also probably was put for them by the UDA party. That presents a challenge. And I believe if we can also have wisdom when you are electing speakers, the leadership of the assembly requires a great leader. Because remember, this is the third most powerful person in that area. From the governor, deputy governor, it comes to the speaker. And therefore, if it does not make important decisions, solemnic decisions, especially on issues like leadership, there will be wrangles of this kind. You can see in 2013, there were areas where there were wrangles all the time. But if you go and interrogate those issues, you'll find the speaker's hand in those issues. So this, I'll blame the speaker, and he needs to be told, you need to manage the affairs.
Okay, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at that story where the president was there yesterday before we continue.
Naona bado kuna viongozi wengine bado wanang'ang'ana na mambo ya vyeo. Bado huyu anatafuta hii, mwingine anatafuta ile. Mimi nataka niwaambie MCAs wa Kericho, wacheni upuzi. Hiyo mchezo mnaendelea, sisi tunataka kila kiongozi ambaye amechaguliwa muanze kupanga mambo ya wananchi, sio kupanga mambo yenu ya vyeo sijui nani, mpaka mnapoteza wakati wa county assembly mkipigana.
The president yesterday, Governor, what is happening in your county?
I don't see it had to reach the level of the president.
But it had to reach his attention because they fought. There was a clip that went around. It was chairs all over.
I know. I don't know. It depends with counties. I want to say MCAs are leaders at their own right. And I must say I have managed with my MCAs to maneuver all this. It's not that we don't have issues. Every county has issues, but I must say so far so good. In my county, we consult with the MCAs. We agree on issues before even going to the assembly, because these issues, they deliberate in the assembly, affect the people of Kilifi. And I think it's good to have consultations with the speaker, the MCAs, before they go to decide on issues. And we said we have not met this year because we have just started it, but I'll be meeting them shortly before the end of the month, because we have said we will be meeting monthly, hopefully, for a cup of tea and whatever, and just look at issues affecting the county. Because at the end of the day, all the deliberations, all the developments happening in Kilifi, they are subject to a budget which goes through the assembly. And I must say that probably I'm the only county in Coast at the moment who has full executive in place. We have CCs in place, we have chief officers in place, we have passed our supplementary budget, our MCS banned the mid-dried oil. They were supposed to be off on 6th of December, but they worked up to 22nd of December. As I'm talking, our budget has already been approved by the control of budget by Friday this week. So as we are moving on, we are working.
What is the secret? You know, when you talked about when there's a wrangle in a county assembly, a speaker is always behind that. What's the secret?
You see, the speaker also is a leader. So I think consultation between the governor, the speaker, and the other leaders is very important. I consult oftenly with the speaker. I consult with the leadership of the assembly from both divide, from the majority and the minority. Yeah. Yes. We sit together and we decide on what goes on. So that helps a lot. You know, leaders start bringing wrangles when they feel that you think they are less leaders. Because they are MCAs, you are governor, you think you are more of a leader than them. So having been a mayor in my young age, I have maneuvered with councillors. I think MCAs is something we can manage, because the different leaders, most majority of them are young. They went to school, unlike before where you could just enter a municipal council and find all these guys who have been nominated by Kanu from all over the place. So I think it's a matter of having humble yourself as a governor and treat your fellow leaders.
You have to tell us, because at the end of the day, there is that aspect of house leadership in the counties. You'll find parties with a different interest, you know, because it's a dominant party. You'll have a number of MCs coming from this side, you know, receiving phone calls from this particular area, you know, pick this, pick and that, pick that. Does that really happen to your county? You'll respond to that. But when you look at it, you know, you reign for an office. The governor here already has his government up and running. The supplementary budget is soon getting passed.
It's been passed.
It's been passed. So you'd imagine
we are ready to spend.
That's pretty fast. And you'd imagine the kind of counties that we have. We still have got several counties who are still reaping from the last regime. Others are still working with the last officers from the last regime. How are we going to move past this? Because at the end of the day, the person who is suffering is the common mwananchi.
I think one of the things that we need to look at is that how do we handle the transition between the old administration that you are inheriting to the new one?
Yes.
And what are the timelines that are set to resolve certain issues so that the governors also can be able, and the county assemblies have a calendar with which to work with, rather than keeping this issue open, so that it is not at the behest of the MCAs and maybe people who go to court and all that. We have clear timelines, the way we have in it for the presidency, that we determine the president within 21 days of an election. The same thing should be done. The county executive should be ready within a certain timeline so that the governor can be able to exercise the promises, deliver on the promises that he made for, or she made for the people of the county that he or she is leading. If we have that clear demarcation, it will be easy, because the challenges that you're seeing in Kericho and maybe in Meru, and even now we've seen in Kiambu there are issues cropping up, and there are maybe other counties where things are a bit quiet, but they will start cropping up. It's an issue of there is no clear deadline where these things should be resolved. He's lucky that in his county things have worked out, because he has more experience in terms of coming from the municipality, going to the National Assembly, working in the national government. That experience is helping him. There are governors who have not had the experience of this kind of leadership, and therefore they're having challenges to respect other leaders. And if that is not handled, managed maybe by law, I don't know how it's going to be done.
Yes. Governor, did you hit the iron when it's told it was still hot? Because I would argue that you bypassed the process before MCS could come to terms that Mheshimiwa already CECs are in place. Before they could come to terms the first salary already, there is an executive already in place. Did you bypass that?
I did not. I followed the law. Actually, what happened is, remember, there was an announcement that all county assemblies will be sworn in on 21st, I think, of September.
Yes.
But I had already, because I was preparing, we had promised people in 100 days in Kilifi that there'll be many changes which will take place.
Yes.
And I had to be up and running. I followed the law. What I did is made an announcement that I was going to swear in my MCAs on the 20th, and I did not change that date. I had the swearing in on the 20th. I addressed the assembly. I gave them my agenda. I saw they were sworn in. They chose a speaker, and then we started working. I went to address the assembly with the key agendas of my manifesto and what we need to compare. Don't forget that we had the outgoing government, which had their own CIDP, which was getting to an end, the County Integrated Development Plan. And I had to get also a team to start working to incorporate my manifesto in the new CIDP, which is all done now. We have done public participation. Soon we are going for now. We are just editing now. Then soon we'll have a public function to launch our CIDP. So as we have moved in the last few months. So the only thing is what we did was. Of course, as I told you through consultation, I called the MCAs and I told them, now we have to move to the next step. So, of course, I forwarded the names of the CECs to the assembly, and I chose credible people. So none of them was turned down. I chose my CECs. I must say now, they are probably on their already third month salary since they are in office.
You're making the other counties look so bad.
I changed even the county secretary.
Yes.
I had put a county secretary who was already there on acting capacity for 6 months. But as you are navigating the waters, you get to know many things which you need to still adjust. So he's since also gone on leave, and we have an acting county secretary now. I'll be announcing a panel next week, which will fill 2 positions. It will fill then I will ask the Public Service Board to advertise the position so that we can have a substantive county secretary. Then we also going to some of the board members. One of the board members, a youth in the Kilifi Public Service Board, was picked as a chief officer. And one of them, both youth, the CC for water is 27 years old, who I picked also for for the CCs, and we have another youth, a lady, I think she's also the same age, who has now been picked up from the Public Service Board as a Chief Officer of Finance. So I'm going also to form a panel next week, or maybe I'll use the same panel to fill those positions, the two vacant positions in the Public Service Board and the substantive account secretary. So as we have moved, we have chief officers in place, we have SCCs in place. They have had training, they are about to go for another. They have done an induction. Last week we had a full week induction of the chief officers. People are up and running. Our budget has been passed by the control of budget, our supplementary budget. Because of the understanding and rapport with the county assembly, we were able to convince them not to go on holiday on the 8th, on the 6th of December. But they waited and they worked even Sundays till 22nd of December. We were able to sign the supplementary budget before New Year. It was gazetted. It has now gone to it was to whatever, and the whole idea was also you need to tell their leaders and to consult them in their own policies. One of the things I discussed with my MCAs was, yes, we are all going for holiday. Don't forget that schools are opening.
Let's take a break, Governor. And when we come back, I still want to dig deep more on your 100 days. Third month, your CECs are taking home their third salary. That means that you have got 100 days. I will get more into your hits and misses. And then what can we copy? The issue of MCAs rankles with the governors, and even now threatening where the president is now coming on board, is something that we cannot take lightly. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more.
Let's learn and let's love. And don't forget to make it fun.
What happened?
There's nothing in here you can't find online. And all these headlines just put me to sleep. If anyone tomorrow acts like the intern did, they won't just be leaving the meeting room.
How dare he say my makeup choices can't even compare to a discount vendor?
He said my costume choices aren't up to red carpet standards.
Is that he doesn't like that all of us come across as unambitious.
What I hate now is that I have to put on a show for him now. I have to lie to him again and again. I have to convince myself there's only a few more lies left.
So then tell him now.
To him. I really tried to talk to him, but he was out of his senses. I know he will look for you. I don't want him to.
If he wants to talk to me, I have no problem with that. I'm not afraid of him, and I won't hide.
Is there anything you want me to do? No. Let him figure it out himself. He is old enough anyway, and the vet must know what he's getting himself into. They are great musicians. I like that. Did you want to talk to me?
And welcome back. We're still having just, behind the scenes talk here. And I'll tell you what the governor said. To the MCS of Kilifi, there's something he said. I'll tell you at the end of it. Okay. Let's talk about the issue of, the issue of governors having not so good kind of a working relationship. This has happened in the past. Of course, we've seen several governors going before the Senate for impeachment. The latest one being Meru Governor, Kawira, and she was saved by the Senate committee. But still, there's some issues running in between, the county assemblies. Do you think the governor did ever expect this to happen to her?
Well, I don't think she expected it. But also maybe she did not understand her place in leadership when it comes to how she relates with the MCAs. You are not an absolute authority by yourself, right, by being the governor of a county. You must realize, just like in the national government, we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. The only thing we don't have in the county is a judiciary. But we have two distinct arms of leadership, which is the legislature, which is the county assembly,
yes,
and the executive, which is the county government. So you, as a governor, you must exercise wisdom in your leadership as far as you are leading your executive and how you're relating with the county assembly. And I think importantly is respect. If you look at the issues bedeviling Meru County government, it all goes down to how we respect each other, how we communicate with each other, how we handle issues among leaders, and we don't need to assume that the MCA is a lesser leader than you as a governor.
Yes.
Remember, you require that one vote from an MCA to pass your budget. And that budget is what you require to deliver on the agenda that you promise the people of your county. So what you need to realize is that how do you now balance the interests of your agenda and also the interests of the MCA. One of the challenges that MCAs suffer from is they go to office, they are elected, they have a very small salary. If you look at the salary these people earn and the expectations on the ground, because the first person people visit is an MCA. If there is a medical issue, if there is a funeral issue, if there is a school fees issue, is an MCA. And when people come to you, you cannot just let them walk away without, even if it's giving 200 or 500 shillings.
Yes.
So this MCA goes back to his pocket to give something small. But he or she expects the support of a governor in terms of bringing some of the development issues closer to his ward or her ward, so that some of these challenges that he's suffering from are elevated, or there's a relief in the sense that the leadership of the county government can be able to bring services closer to the people, so that he or she as an MCA is able to tell the people, look, if there's a medical issue, there's a hospital nearby, go and you'll get medicine, go and get these services. If there's an issue of school fees, there's a bursary kitty in place. So the county governor must be able to have wisdom to manage both he or her interests and those of the MCAs who or she must work with.
Yes.
If they are not able to balance that, then their issues of fight will always be there. And I think most of the governors who have been able to succeed is going into this office knowing very well that these people are important as I am important to the people of my county.
All right. You know, it's quite interesting because if the next, I want us to talk about, your achievements and the governor's achievement countrywide and in relation specifically to your county government. But before then, we must accept that there is that bit of, some governors having high-handedness in running the affairs of the county. Either some of them did not expect to have the kind of leadership that they have currently, and therefore things do change overnight. But then, Governor, in your own position, do you really think that some governors were ready? Were you ready, starting with you, for the position?
Yes, I was. As the engineer have said, at a very young age, I ran Malindi I was the mayor of Malindi. And those who know, I was also voted the best mayor of Kenya in 2001. Yeah, and the cleanest and best run municipality in Kenya. And at the same time, I was also the vice chair of all local authorities of Kenya. The chair was Mayor Magut from Eldoret. Then I became MP for 10 years. In the first 5 years as MP for Malindi, I was also seconded to the AU Parliament in South Africa, the Pan-African Parliament, where I served for 5 years. So I have quite an experience, and I know that we are all leaders of our own right. You cannot feel that because I'm governor, the MCA is less leader in the society. We were both elected. There is a reason why in those particular wards, even where I went to fight to have an ODM MCA elected, that they elected another, either independent or a UDA, OPA. It was the choice of the people.
Yeah.
The people in their own wisdom elected a governor from ODM and MCAs from different parties. So I respect all the leaders who were elected in the County Assembly of Kilifi. And with that, I've had several consultations with the MCAs. That's why we managed to have CCs in place. We have CEOs, CCOs, chief officers in place. We have, in the last 100 days, done so many things in the county of Kilifi. During the campaign, I promised that in the first 100 days, all these facilities in the county will have medicine. And when I came in, there were debts to pay to KEMSA. We cleared the first bills the county had with KEMSA.
The pending bills from the last regime?
Yes.
All right.
From KEMSA, because for me it's a priority. Health was part of one of my priorities. So we cleared the bill of KEMSA. I managed to engage KEMSA. We have now, we bought, the last order from KEMSA was slightly over 230 million. And all the 150 facilities of Kilifi County, as we are talking, they have a medicine. I've gone down to a few hospitals. The challenge we have now is storage. You go to some other hospitals. I was in Mariakani the other day and I realized that even some medicine is being stored in the wards. This never happened before.
Because there's an oversupply?
Yes, because there's enough supply and they don't have enough storage facilities. So now the challenge is to have storage facilities even in the referral hospitals within the county, because they didn't have space. They didn't have enough stores for medicine before. Maybe they used to buy very little, or sometimes they didn't have at all.
That's a complete irony when some counties are still suffering from lack of medicine. For you have another supply.
We have. I'm even going a step further now.
Yes.
We already had discussion with the chair of KEMSA, and we're even going a step further. In the next supply, what we are trying to do is to make sure we do not only supply the county of Kilifi, the next, with this medicine will run up to end of April.
Yes.
So we'll have about 1 month before the next financial year. So we'll replenish that. But what we want to do is now to have all the medicine of Kilifi County also be labeled as free medicine for the county, so that we can also try to see how we can cut leakages of medicine from the hospital. And KEMSA is up to the task, and they have said we'll look into it and see how we brand our medicine for the county.
I'll come back to you and give me your hits and misses. But then, when you look at it, engineer, 100 days is, it's a general term that most governments use, 100 days in office. How important is that? What's the real essence of this 100 days in office? Because as we speak, some counties do not have their house in order yet. But here, most county governments are celebrating, including the national government celebrating 100 days in office. How important is this? You've been there in a position of leadership.
One of the important things that it sends a message of the kind of leadership the people should expect from you. Meaning that by the time you go to office, from day one, you know what has brought you to that office, you know what you need to deliver and how you're going to deliver it. So it is a reflection of the kind of leadership you'll have over the next 5 years or 3 years or whatever term, length of your term is. So the 100 days are an indicator of the kind of person you, the people of that county or that country have elected, in terms of the presiding over the affairs of the people he or she is going to lead. So it's important that this person is able to demonstrate that, number one, can I manage stakeholders? Can I manage resources? Can I bring on board the right men and women to govern with me? Can I be able to work with the people who are not supporting me?
Yeah.
Can I bring unity? Can I be able to understand issues better? So this time is very important for this leader to be able to go deeper into issues. Because when you are campaigning, you just look at issues from the surface level, but you don't understand the gravity of issues before you start engaging people, before you go to hospital. The way he has now gone to hospital, he has realized as much as the issue is being portrayed as medicine, even storage, logistics is an issue.
Yes.
And that also reflects probably even in the country. We are not suffering from health issues, not because we don't have resources, but the problem is how do we manage the resources we have?
Yeah.
We probably have enough medicine at KEMSA to serve every part of this country, but the problem is the logistics of having that medicine to reach to the various facilities, to be stored well, to reach to the people, and all manner of issues. So our 100 days are able to bring out certain issues that will help us to know in the next 5 years, this is how we'll govern this country. Okay. You've seen when Ruto had his retreat in Nanyuki, he has taken stock of the 100 days to be able to plan better. And he has seen, I need to restructure my government. There are certain departments need to move from here to here. There are certain people who are better here than here. There are certain emerging issues. There are issues of between the deputy president and the prime sector that I need to manage very well. He has seen it's important now that I need to work with the Luo Nyanza people better. Maybe my first visit was not with respect. I need to go there with some sort of decorum that the people of Luo Nyanza can receive me well. He has seen that there are certain important assets within these areas that did not vote for me that I need for my people to benefit.
So that is like a litmus test.
It's a very important litmus test for any leader.
Yes.
And I think for those who have been who have suffered badly in the first 100 days, they need to take stock and use those challenges that they have gone through to make their leadership better. For them who have succeeded like him, they should not sit comfortable, because whenever you get comfortable, you forget there are issues that can emerge. Take stock and be able to prepare yourself better.
Governor, you have all the bragging rights at this particular point, and you can walk with your head held high. The streets of Nairobi and people of Kilifi will still see you nonetheless. What are your hits and misses? But before you answer that, what is your current budget for the next financial year?
It's 15.4 billion. Yeah, and this include from the equitable share we get about 11.6 billion. Then we have on-source revenue and donors.
Yes.
So, but we are trying even to get more donors. So we'll probably our budget will go much higher at the end of the financial year. But yes, the hits were, as I've said, we have now medicine in all our hospitals. There is a change management in the hospitals. I've held a meeting with all the doctors. Well, during the campaign, I used to tell people that if I walk into a hospital and find that doctor is not on duty, and supposed to be on duty, will be fired. And I thought I would not just say it in the campaign. So when I came in, I held a breakfast meeting with all the doctors of the county, specialists and the medical officers and the managers of the hospitals, and we agreed on a way forward. And I said, you know, we are all here to serve the people, and this is what I expect from you as doctors. Yeah? Small things, even apart from medicine. Even I told the doctors that, look, I walk into hospitals and I see somebody walking around and ask, who's the doctor? You know, I said it's very easy for me to walk in and I know who's the doctor by just having doctors in their gowns.
Right.
Yeah? Nurses in their uniforms. They're small things, but they make change. When I took over, I know the biggest subject we used to talk about in the campaigns was, for example, hot water. There was a business going on at the Kilifi General Hospital where you had people selling flasks of water at 50 bob outside the hospital.
The patients?
Yes, to go and bath newborn babies and mothers. And they said that will end. And I fixed it in the first 2 weeks I was in office. Every hospital of Kilifi Hospital today has hot water. And we have fixed a desalination plant at the Kilifi Hospital. We did it in 2 months. Now you can change the salty water at the hospital to fresh water. I have met with many development partners. I must say, maybe I'm lucky, or they thought there was a new regime and they were flocking in. I've met several ambassadors, I've met partners, USAID included. And as I'm talking, apart from just getting medicine for the hospitals, we have managed to partner with Afya Ugavi, sponsored by USAID, and we can now monitor at least 20 facilities in the rural on how medicine leaves Nairobi KEMSA to those facilities. The pharmacist in the county, on her phone, she will be able to monitor when the truck leaves Nairobi.
App.
Yes, an app.
Right.
When it leaves Nairobi, and she can follow up to the smallest village of Kilifi out of these 20 facilities that the drugs have arrived.
Okay.
To the facilities. Those are some of the achievements we have been able to do. We have also been able to, because one of the agendas I have is on water, and we said it's most of the time we are either sharing water or water is disconnected, not because there's no water, because we have not been able to pay power. So we are working on desalination, on solar, and we have already a pilot project in a place called Marafa in Magarini sub-county, where we have already been able to put in the last 1.5 months a sample solar panels to pump water to the people instead of using electricity. What is the target? The target at the end of the day is to make sure that apart from having power disconnected and then you cannot supply water, we'll be able to have constant pumping of water to the people, but also we are able to reduce the cost of water to our people. So we have laid the ground for many things, on agriculture, on fishing, on all these issues. But I must say that we have every department running. We have already signed an MOU with the Department of Gender, with this new CS Asia Juma and the Finland government on gender-based violence issues. Kilifi is one of the areas where I think we are topping in the country on gender-based violence issues. We are the ones who hosted for example, the 14 days of gender-based violence in Kilifi. So we are also have on that front. We have issues going on. We have been able to create a bill now going to the Assembly to change the finance bill. We have had a meeting with several banks. The county used to have something called Mbegu Fund, which was loaning up to 100 million a financial year. We have changed that now to Wezesha Fund. We have already agreed with several banks. At the moment we are spoiled for choice, where we can match that money maybe to 3 or up to 10 shillings. So that instead of giving only 100 million as a county, we'll fix the 100 million in the bank and we'll get 500 million managing it with the bank. So that people can access more funds.
I'll come back to that. That issue of pending bills in county governments, even the national government still have pending bills running across the different sectors. How did you solve that in your 100 days, the pending bills? Let's talk about agriculture. Let's talk about health that you've talked about. And most importantly, the black gold, cashew nut business in Kilifi County. But before we take a break, Crispus, there's this issue of policy and execution of policy framework. Yes, you have everything laid out. You have got your policy framework, your manifesto. But then the aspect of the execution is what the big issue here is.
I think maybe we need to borrow from Kibaki.
Right.
Kibaki had his policy about the economy of this country. Probably way back in the 60s. He knew what he wanted this country, and he knew the potential of this country. But importantly, he knew he cannot deliver this alone. So he surrounded himself with men and women who share that vision, who share that aspiration, who have the capacity to deliver on the aspirations that he has for the country. And therefore, even if you have good policies, if you don't surround yourself with men and women of equal task or even equal measure to deliver on those policies, it will just be on paper. This country is not having shortage of good ideas. What we lack is men and women of courage to go and deliver on those good ideas. And the few who have that courage probably don't have the political support sometimes to be able to deliver. If you look at the president right now, he's probably one of the few men in this government who has really come out clearly on his vision for this country. Probably the deputy president has come close, maybe on the issues of milk, tea, and whatever. But with Dr. William, he's very clear. But now the question is, are the CSs and the PSs able to deliver on that promise? So this will also come into a question. Do we think his government will last the next 5 years in the way it is right now, or maybe he may be required to change it if he finds that there is shortage in terms of the abilities and skills he requires to deliver on the policies and the vision he has for this country? So it's important you have the right people around you.
Okay, I'm told you're running out of time, and to see my director on the floor, that means that things are not so okay. But Governor, I'll give you the last word, and as you answer that, IBC will be leaving offices tomorrow. You can also put that with your final remarks and in your county. They'll be releasing their today and actually exiting office tomorrow. What is your take on their performance as in the last 6 years? As you answer that, you can also give me a quick scorecard on what you should expect in the next 100 days in your county. Quickly, Governor.
Thank you. I think on IBC, I must say they have had their flaws, but generally, I must say they have tried their best. In the last 6 years, I think we have our reservations on few issues, but generally they have done very well.
Yes.
And I must say, when it comes to elections, sometimes every candidate will have their issues, but generally, I feel like they had a free and fair election the last years.
Okay.
On the next days, there's so much happening. We have already, as a county, we have already. I formed 3 task forces in the first 10 days I was in office. One is pending bills task force. One is health task force. The other
what have you cleared so far?
The other one is no. I've had task forces working. Some preliminary reports, but I think the next week I will have the final reports of all this. We have already on pending bills, preliminarily you can see that there are many, on these pending bills, there are many projects which were done, which have no tender, no LPOs. Those are not pending bills. Those you throw out. So as we go, when I receive the report, I don't want to preempt the report of the pending bills task force, but once we have it, then we will have a direction on it. We are not saying we'll not pay pending bills, but we'll pay pending bills only where you can see projects were done. Because one of the terms of reference to the task force is that before they clear any bill, they must also see the project physically. Yeah. Okay. So that we can tick and say, yes, we saw the pending bill and we saw the project.
All right.
Yeah. So part of the things we are doing. So I hope that will help us. On health, we had also the last 100 days we had a meeting with various stakeholders. I have asked my architects and people in charge of works in the county. Because we've decided you cannot do these things as a county alone. So what we have done is we are already drawing plans in all the dilapidated hospitals, Malindi Hospital, Kilifi General Hospital, and we do plans per, if it's a ward you want to change, female ward or whatever, we do the plans, and then we have already brought on board stakeholders. Malindi Hospital, for example, they started already renovations in the first 100 days in several parts, which is being done by the private sector. All what I want as governor, do that part, bring us the key. They're not looking for money. So the private sector is really coming up big on this, on partnering, on developing our health care systems. We're already signing an MOU with the Pwani University Hospital because we want to do the Kilifi Teaching Research and Referral Hospital. And they have given us 89 acres of land to construct that hospital. And we are looking for partners. And a sports complex, they have given 39 acres of land. We are about to sign the MOU now, but we have had several meetings with Pwani University, and we are partnering that, so we'll build the teaching and referral hospital will be the sports complex, and this will take, of course, a bit of time, but we are looking for partners, and soon I'll be meeting with various partners on the same issues. But we have had stakeholder engagement, and we are going to even further it by forming a directorate in my office on donor linkages and private sector coordination, which will unveil soon to bring more partners on board.
And finally, how is your relationship with your deputy?
Very well.
Okay.
Very well.
Governors have issues all over with their deputies.
No. You see, that's what I'm saying.
She's not having, beef back and forth.
No, that's what I'm telling you.
Yes.
It's all about respecting each other's position.
Yes.
My deputy, I work very well with my deputy. When I'm not there, she takes charge. When I'm there, I take charge. I'm supposed to be in Kisumu. I said, no, I'll not be in Kisumu. At a short notice, she will change her plans to fit in to run the county. I told her the first that, sorry man, you have to jump to Kisumu.
All right.
Yeah. And she's now in Kisumu.
She's in Kisumu. Deputy Governor, if you're watching, your boss is talking good about you. All right. Thank you so much, Governor, for coming on board. And as well, Engineer Crispus Wathimba, who is a governor's expert and a political analyst, Governor of Kilifi, Gideon Mungaro. All right. GMK still continues, but we are taking a break. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us.
Hue and color.
At your border crossing captured a person of interest. Tunaamini kwamba Imran Saidi ndio Burhan's new bomb maker.
Tulikuwa na Burhan's new bomb maker na tukamwachilia.
Jamaa hakuna itilafu yoyote hapo chini, sawa?
Tukishajua pale ameshikwa, proceed with Operation Silent Night.
Hii ni lele. Ngoma bado. Wahuen Asosolo.
Hey! Listen up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Engine.
How do we hear? How do we see? What makes up the air we breathe?
Let's go!
It's technology.
Let's go!
Science, you and me.
Let's go!
We're learning every day.
Let's ask, let's learn, and let's love. And don't forget to make it fun.
Matope usiwahi itwa na ujuu unaitiwa nini? Hapa kwani tunaishi kwa chesi ati mahali ukiambiwa fly over, you ask questions when you are flying ya babu.
You fly under how high, unasema how who. Unajua huo mama kaya yeye anatuangalianga anaona sisi ni kama ni slaves.
Hebu kaeni chini, mnasalimiana nini hapa? Mmekuja mmechelewa alafu mnaanza kusalimiana.
Ekai, hapa jamaa. Huyu mgeni anaitwa nani?
Sijui lakini itaema ndevu.
Ekai baba ya kama ndevu. Difference between a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star and a 5-star hotel.
1 star, yani okay, 5 star is 5 stars inawaka kuliko 1 star.
Anasema nyota ndogo.
Nyota ndogo ni muimbaji.
To him. I really tried to talk to him, but he was out of his senses. I know he will look for you. I don't want him to.
If he wants to talk to me, I have no problem with that. I'm not afraid of him, and I won't hide.
Is there anything you want me to do? No. Let him figure it out himself. He is old enough anyway, and the vet must know what he's getting himself into. they are great musicians. I like them. Did you want to talk to me?
What happened?
There's nothing in here you can't find online. And all these headlines just put me to sleep. If anyone tomorrow acts like the intern did, they won't just be leaving the meeting room.
How dare he say my makeup choices can't even compare to a discount vendor?
He said my costume choices aren't up to red carpet standards.
Is that he doesn't like that all of us come across as unambitious.
What I hate now is that I have to put on a show for him now. I have to lie to him again and again. I have to convince myself there's only a few more lies left.
So then tell him now.
FM Gigosi, Kitot FM Gigosi,
98.0 Kitwek FM Gigosin.
Exactly 20 minutes to the top of the hour. You're right in time for our second conversation of the day. We train our focus on matters of the digital space and the digital economy, taking cognizance of what the state is doing in terms of rolling out the 5,000 public Wi-Fi hotspots in this year alone, and also looking at where we are as a country in respect to the digital space. Of course, this is what I set to converse in like the next 30 minutes or so with my guests who are here to help us understand about that and so much more. To my far left, that is Humphrey Mchuma, who is the founder of Inua AI Solutions, and right next to him is Harley York, the director of marketing, Next Door Photos. Welcome to the program, lady and gent.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just want us to brush this discussion from that bit of the hotspots, and I want to pick it up with you, Humphrey. This is a government initiative. The CSICT has talked about this so much. So just 2 days ago, he was in Kericho launching the public Wi-Fi hotspot. He began here in Nairobi, in City Market. As someone in the digital space, of what importance is this?
First, I must say I'm very much excited. I think very many people should be excited about this. I think this is an introduction, to the young people out there. Of course, we do have also the other age groups that really will use it, maybe in the e-commerce, we have traders who will use that as well. But I think this is a very great step towards digital transformation in this country. And we do know that, globally, technology is key to the growth of the economy. Right now, global businesses are actually depending on digital, transformation for growth. So for me, I think it's exciting. It's an exciting phase, and I like what the government is doing. I am a full supporter of that. I know many people do that as well. our young people need to be introduced to this, and it's also very important for the policymakers.
Yes.
We have the CBC. I mean, it's been approved. We have policymakers in the education sector should also be, really like working with the relevant teams to come up with programs that will introduce the young people into, the digital space. Now, the rollout, and then how do you use it? We just don't want to use it in the social space, taking pictures, posting.
Yeah.
But how important is it to the growth of the economy, as an individual again, and then to the economy of the country? But it's a very great step the government has taken in introducing young people to the digital space.
Yeah. I hear you, and you really mentioned really quite a key pointer there, that not just taking photos, that you're not just rolling this out for things such as that, but also how important is it for the growth of our economy. And of course, momentarily we'll come into that. Before we get to do that, Hayley, talk to me about Next Door Photos.
Yes, so Next Door Photos is based in the USA, which is where I am from, and Next Door Photos is a group of real estate media professionals that actually go out and take photos of residential and commercial real estate. Not only photos, but videos. They do drone images and floor plans for homes that are going to be sold or property that are going to be sold. So we have over 45 owners of franchise businesses that are across the USA and Canada. And we work together with a new AI that actually edits all of those photos and offers amazing support to all of our team in the US and Canada.
Aside from the editing bit, how else are you coming together with Inua AI in terms of partnership, and so far how has it been for you?
Yes, so that's a great question. Thanks for asking. So other ways that we're partnering with Inua AI is they have team members on their team that are assisting in marketing, that are assisting in our product innovation and helping with product rollout. We have more team members that are helping with other business administrative activities. So really the partnership with Inua AI has been incredibly vital to our success in the state and in Canada. So we are so grateful for the partnership with Inua AI and the amazing support that they offer our team in the US and Canada.
I hear you.
Yes.
And of course we'll come to the economy bit, as I mentioned, Humphrey, but before we get to do that, again, just perhaps make me understand, and this is again from your perspective, we talked about 5,000 public Wi-Fi hotspot, and Hayley has just talked about the partnership that both of you are having and how this is also coming together to also ideally assist the young folks.
Exactly.
But how practical is this going to be? Why I ask is because not just for a select few to benefit, but holistically.
Yeah. So for me, how I look at it is, when you talk about like the public Wi-Fi, the rollout of, I don't know if you're going to talk about it, but the rollout of 100,000, cable, fiber lay, that is really key. You'll have like the digital centers, satellite centers being set up, institutions will be connected. You're talking about e-learning coming into place, which is key, for the digital space as well. I think, I think the rollout of the Wi-Fi is key because the young people, look at the JIRA program, for example.
Yes.
Young people are being trained. Some of the training they're given is to supplement their income, but some, like what Hayley has just talked about, will be aligned towards, getting like a full-time job. Like at Inua AI, all our staff actually in full-time jobs. They work, majority of them with Next Door Photos, editing pictures, photos, videos of the real estate. So we should look at it from perspective that, what value does it bring? When you look at the value now, you start looking at how do we bring that value to young people? And I think a JIRA program, will definitely play a key role in that. We come in to supplement. A JIRA program is big, but we need players to come in and supplement, just like what we're doing, to help these young people, realize their potential. When they get to use these, hotspots that are being, set up countrywide.
Okay, I hear you. So then, basically, from what you're saying, that this is indeed a practical idea, the 5,000, the 25,000 in a span of 5 years, the 100,000 kilometer digital superhighway, all this is practical?
It is practical. I mean, the government can do it. You know, the president has talked about it, the CS has talked about it. I think it's practicable. We don't need to be pessimistic. Yeah, we need to be optimistic. And once you are optimistic, it's all about the mindset.
Yes.
You should be on the negative side, the optimistic. So how do we come in and support? Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I'm excited because together with our business partners, you know, we'll be looking at reaching out to other towns with the rollout, you know, providing these opportunities to other young people out there. We have close to around 120 young people working with us on a full-time basis. So, and all of them, the digital space. Yeah. So, I mean, some of them will work from home, like the professionals will work from home, and then some of them will actually have in our work setup. Yeah.
Okay, well said, well said. And I'll come to the recruitment process momentarily, you know, the 120. Why? Because again, we still have quite a huge demographic that would really want to get into the job spaces. But even as we speak, you know, there's still bits and pieces here that the state is trying to employ. Nonetheless, still quite a huge demographic. But before then, Hayley, in terms of also partnership with Inua AI, just talk to me about how long you have been together and what this has portend in terms of businesses in the digital economy.
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. So I joined the team at Nextdoor Photos in 2021, but I know the partnership with Inua AI has gone as far as back as 2019. And that partnership really has, you know, it's been very beneficial for both companies, for Nextdoor Photos and I know Inua AI in partnership. And like what you guys have been mentioning about the Wi-Fi rollout and the accessibility, it really will benefit Nextdoor Photos as well in direct result by having more Wi-Fi and accessibility in Kenya, because we're also able to expand and grow our business in partnership with the Inua AI. So it's a really wonderful thing that the government is doing and a great initiative that is going to be portrayed and going to try to do over the next few years. So we're extremely excited about that, and the partnership with the Inua AI is continuing to grow because of things that the government is continuing to do. So that is why it has been so important for us to work in Kenya, because we see that continuous innovation and continuous mindset for growth. So that is what really excites us about being uniquely placed in Kenya with uniquely placed with the Inua AI. So it's just been a wonderful opportunity, and we're so excited for the continuous growth and innovation in this space of digital and Wi-Fi.
Of course, the future is digital, and right now, anything you actually talk about, we're not shy of mentioning the digital space. Everything is moving into that particular space. So then for you as a person, nonetheless, why choose to be in such kind of, you know, a space or an economy or even business?
Yeah, so for me, being in a digital space and economy is important because there's continuous innovation and growth, like I mentioned. I think that that is a space that we're uniquely positioned in right now at this current time to be growing and to continue to expand into new environments. So with Nextdoor Photos, we're able to continue to grow our business and our product offerings because of digital spaces and media. We're able to partner across the world with Inua AI in Kenya because of digital spaces and Wi-Fi. So I think that there's just an opportunity for growth. It's continuing to grow. There's continuous changes. More and more people are accepting and adopting the idea that media and digital spaces are coming around, and that it's starting to be kind of expected that you are growing and innovating in that space. So I think for me, that's why it's so exciting and why I love working in the digital space, because there's continuous growth, there's continuous innovation, and there's always the adoption of more and more companies and more people that are learning about it and growing as well.
5.3 million people, or should I say young people, still jobless as we speak. That's quite a significant number. And I'm just using the data that was recently released by KNBS. If my memory serves me correct, about a year ago or so. And yes, any government that comes into place, they never miss the aspect of trying to create job opportunities for the young people.
Exactly.
That's why you're seeing this government really leverage a lot on the digital space, because then it's being looked at as an area of creating employment. So when you talk about recruitment process, how does it look like for you? Because 120 is good. Still
good, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll have definitely more Avenue eyes or other companies.
Yes.
We also have other companies that are doing this in this market. I think I'd mentioned before, like, about the policies. Policies are very important, and then the people that you have there are really important, because they will guide. The president will say it, the CS will say it, but the people that will actually do it are us. I'm down there, yes.
The bottom up.
Bottom up. So the hustler movement, of course.
Yes.
So we're promoting that, but we lay out the policies. Rome was not basically built in one day. It's a process. So we have to know that it's going to be a process for us to get there. We have trainings to be done, digital skills. We have credentials to be earned as well. And these are, of course, the certificates and the recognitions, and maybe the any other certifications that will come into play that are relevant towards the future of the jobs. But most importantly is the trainings, and I can always come back to Ajira program, like what they're doing. We also do that as well as a company, but they're doing it on large scale, and it's important to have, to understand that we are competing globally, not just locally. So all our policies should be focused more on global competition. So what is India doing? Why are they doing so good than us? What is Philippines doing? So it's important for us to sit down and understand, what do we need to place? So what do we need to do to make sure that we're actually up there? So the policies will play a key role in driving that, so that we have the right directed trainings, knowing that, okay, in the next 5 years, what do you expect? There's no need of us training someone today on transcription only, knowing that, in the next 3 years to be relevant, because we're having machines that are doing that right now, programs. Image annotation, for example, we have companies that actually have systems that are doing right now. So we need to look into the future. So where is the future taking us? And what are the jobs that are there? So we need to put more focus on that. Cybersecurity is a big thing. Software development, again, is a big thing. But again, we look at software development, okay, we are told machines are learning to program. So what do we need to do in the next 5 years? Because technology keeps changing. But those are actually the very key spaces. But I think it's also important to know that data analytics will play actually a key role. Data analytics is going to be big. So we should be aligned to that, knowing that, in the marketing is actually one big area. We've seen companies doing that. We also have the healthcare system, transportation, the Uber, we have Bolt. So it's important for us to know, where we actually directing our trainings, directing, our young people. She talked about innovation. So if they are guided and provided in the right direction, I think they'll be more focused to know, okay, this is how the future looks like. And, knowing that they're not competing just locally, but there's a global standard out there.
I hear you. So then I want you to elucidate a bit further on this recruitment process that you undertake. How does it look like? What exactly do you look into? And the reason why I ask it is because anytime you think about digital space, you always think as long as you can have your data or your internet connectivity, then you're good to go for any job in the digital space.
Yeah. For us, our recruitment is pretty much simple. There's one thing to have a certificate, there's another thing that you can do the job. There's another thing, I can come here and tell all the good words and all do the job, but somebody will just say a few words, and do the job. So I think we're changing that. Becoming more liberal. Our recruitment process is very simple. You come in, some of our employees, some of them walk in, they can't talk. I mean, for us, we feel like there was just a gap in the training process. Because most of the jobs we provided, are entry-level jobs. So I don't have to dismiss you. The opportunity here is for the organizations and companies. We've actually seen that happening. you know, we're having students being provided with internships. Yeah, I think 1 year ago I saw that with APSA and KEPSA. They rolled it out. That's one of key areas how you can start preparing young people in the digital space. But the recruitment process, we need to, because we are moving into the digital age, for us it's pretty much looking at, you are there, you have this training, can you do the job? Yes. The other things will train you on. Yeah.
So also there's a lot of training that goes...
Training is very important. And that's why I'm always coming back to Ajira. You see what is happening in Ajira? It's a training you're trained and you're able to take up this job. So just give these young people opportunities. And most of the 3.5 you're talking about are young people coming from marginalized communities, you know, slum areas. Most of them are actually from there. Some of them are privileged. They can set up a small business here and there, you know. But most of them actually who are being affected are from the marginalized communities. So, and you find that they've not been given that opportunity, you know. And I think when the government talks about the bottom-up process, I think it's referring to that. We have to look at what is happening down there. Build a strong base. If you have a strong base, then I think you will have success. Because they'll understand, like, what it takes to be up here.
Well said. Hayley, do you think that the insufficient training is what is making a majority of the young people not to leverage on the digital space for growth of the economy, or even their own, you know, just for their own growth as well?
Sure. I think from my viewpoint that there could be a possible lack of education or just accessibility of education, and so it might not necessarily be the training. It might just be that they need more education around the topic, and that there needs to be more materials that they can learn that can be supported by training. So I think, you know, the training and education go hand in hand. You need both to make it work. So I think, you know, it would really start with education and just kind of learning, what is the digital space? What can I do in media? What do I need to learn before I can go apply for this job, or go talk with a new AI? What do I need to have in my mind before I go there? And so I think, you know, education and training go hand in hand, and you might have some skills already that you have been untapped that training can unlock, and I think that is definitely a possibility. So I think, like I mentioned, I think they really do work hand in hand, education and training.
So what better way do we need to incorporate these trainings? Because just looking at what you're doing in terms of partnership, together with Inua AI, with the editing of the photos, Humphrey just did mention that, even as I talked about the 5.3, you know, jobless youth, so to speak, good number of them are, you know, cut across the marginalized communities. So in that regard, how then do we incorporate this training or education or knowledge to impart, you know, these young people with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the way that we can continue to incorporate it and give it to the young people is continuing to work in partnerships like this. So the people that I work with in the United States work hand in hand with Humphrey and his team at Inua AI to create training, to create materials, to give to these students and give to the people that are coming to apply for the positions, to make sure that they're really equipped to complete the role and do it with excellence and feel proud of their position and what they're doing. So I think in partnership is really the way that can be done.
I hear you.
Can I also just add something to that? Yeah, and then one of the things that we're actually building out is an ecosystem where you have, like, we're based at the USAU Africa site. We've partnered with Dimension Data. So USAU, where we can get students, we've started, like, having, we've recruited close to around 10 of the students who work with us in cybersecurity. The number will build that tremendously this year. And then we also have Dimension Data that provides technology, you know, the site, the building, and all that. We come in to provide jobs to young people. So I think and then we have, of course, the business partners, you know, who have a stake in the business. So it's important for them to understand, like, what is happening with you. Dimension Data will call back and say, like, hey, you know, where are you? How can we support? You know, so having that kind of ecosystem around you is very important. I think that's the success of the future. Having learning institutions working with service providers like us, providing the jobs, and then we also have technology companies working, and then we have the business partners like you providing the training materials and opportunities that exist in the market prior to even the recruitment happening. So it's like an ecosystem. So you have the students here having an opportunity to go for internships at Inua AI or any other organization, they can come in, and not just photo editing, video editing. I mean, she's talked about, we have people in operations, we have people in marketing, sales, all these fields. We have people in finance, managing finance from here. So you have like a vast team, vast opportunities within a company where you can have like all these programs be rolled out. By the time these students are leaving, you have an opportunity. I mean, they know what they really want and where they're going and how the market looks like.
So aside from just coming together in partnership, you realize that this is a space that you're getting into, like we've said, over time. But there's still, we still have a very sharp divide. And a classical example is even what you talked about earlier on, the issue of the CBC rollout. And currently what you're dealing with is the lack of proper training of, some of these teachers, because then you realize that also there'll be a lot of digital incorporation in this new system that we got ourselves into. So aside from just the bit of coming together in terms of partnership, what more ways can we employ? Because at the end of the day, we have to actually embrace it. And we'll come to the global perspective in a bit, but we have to really embrace it, even as a country moving forward.
I think
partnership is good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset is key. We should not always be, like I mentioned about being pessimistic.
Yes,
should be optimistic. Okay, this is, for example, if the president says, the CS says, this is really important. We shouldn't look at it like from a negative aspect. Always look at it from a positive aspect. And when you're basically be a critic on could be like, just find out, like, there should be some positives and some negatives, of course. But it's important for us to have, like, the right kind of mindset. Time is really running out. Just look at 10 years. Our president just started, like, the next 10 years, we have a new president, look at it from 10 years from now. How old do you be?
Yeah.
That's how I look at I look at it always. Like, I have a team of young people, 18-year-olds, 24-year-olds, 10 years from now, where will they be? So if we sit down, we can fight over other things, but remember that we have young people that we're working with, that we want them to be successful. We are building a country for these people. So I think, for me, it will be the mindset. Having the right kind of mindset. You should be positive. For me, always it should be. Look at it from that angle, because you can have all the papers and all these, but if you don't have the right kind of mindset, then you're unteachable. You can't learn. You can't really, like, if you're directed to do something, you're always negative. For me, it's more of having the right kind of mindset. Right now, you come to our center, we have young people who had basically, like, just certificates, diplomas, the kind of jobs they've done, the kind of experience they've had. Right now we're going to provide them with opportunities together with our partners for them to take their degree courses,
Thank you.
And
I hear you.
that's really important for them also to get to understand, like, get deeper into understanding of, the kind of jobs they're doing.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you. I hear you. And I really like what you've talked about, the issue of mindset, because much as partners would come on board, much as the state would roll out the free public Wi-Fi hotspot just for ease of doing business and ease of traders and all that, but if your mindset does not shift, then you realize all these efforts will be futile.
Futile, exactly.
Well said. So then, Hayley, where are we in the global space? And even as you respond to that, talk to me about why you chose to just work with Kenya in this regard.
Yeah, great question. So back in 2019, we really wanted to choose a place where we knew that there would be impact and that there was also room for growth and innovation in that country. And so that's why our company chose Kenya, because we saw the potential for innovation, the growth in the digital space, the rollout of Wi-Fi accessibility across the country. And so Kenya is an international hub for growth and innovation that we've noticed. And so that is the main reason why we were excited to partner in Kenya in partnership with Inua AI and the connections that we had with the company. Every 3 to 4 hours of photos, or every hour of photography that we take in the United States, results in 3 to 4 hours of jobs for our partners in Kenya here. So really, to grow our company in the United States is a huge goal for us, to grow into the AI and provide more jobs and more employment for the young people that will result in more education for them, more knowledge, and that they directly work coinciding together to continue to create growth, to create more opportunities, have the young people have more education, and give them skills that they can use that are transferable to other jobs as they continue to grow their careers. And so by being in Kenya, we feel that we are just uniquely placed at the right time in the right place to be working with Humphrey and his team at Inua AI, and just the things that the president is doing and that the government is doing and pushing the Wi-Fi accessibility is just testament to the great country that we're in and the great partnerships that are available.
So in your perspective, where are we as a country in the global space as it pertains to digital economy and digital growth?
I think that Kenya is on the edge of growth, and that you guys are right at the spot where you're about ready to just take off and to really expand the accessibility, and just everyone is going to have more options and availability in work and education and training because of what the government is doing. There's a ways to go, as we all know, but I think that you're on the cutting edge of really being able to push that forward and continue to grow economically and just as a country with education and training and employment.
So then one would just imagine that perhaps when you talk about digital space and digital economy, based on what you've conversed so far, is about shooting and editing of photos or even videos or real estate. But I want to believe there could be more, or there should be more than that. And I like how you're all agreeing. Maybe Humphrey, you can just perhaps tell us a bit more. What more lies in terms of opportunities in the digital space?
Actually, the opportunities basically lie in all business verticals. The finance sector, you look at the tech sector, health sector. Right now we are actually realizing telemedicine. You're able to, most of these things you've done digitally. And it's important for, right now, as we speak, we know that you cannot get employment without being digitally literate. You must have the basics. So the key differentiator here will be you need to understand where the world is going, the global businesses are going, the digital transformations, and we equip ourselves for that. So it's basically in all business verticals. And when we are talking about the digital economy, especially for a country like ours, we're actually directing it towards employment. And that's seeing the government is directing everything towards employment. We do have businesses that will come to work with us and work with other people, of course, in other business environments. We have, of course, call centers digitized right now. But it's basically in all business aspects, and business verticals that you'll basically hear of. But I think it actually depends. When you're studying for a certain program, you're actually identifying yourself with a certain industry. Just make sure that you understand, in that industry, what do I need to be equipped with to be ready for those kind of jobs. If you're getting into a degree program right now or a course right now, you need to understand, in the next 5 years, how is the technology changing in that industry? So if it's in the health sector, how is it changing? But you don't have to really be a doctor to be the health sector. So it's changing. And it's basically very important for us to understand how that is being transformed. I'll give an example. Call centers, right now, you may have 100 people, but in the next 5 years, things will change. You only maybe have close to around 20 people doing jobs
So acquit yourself with the digital space, and whatever business you want to do, make sure you understand the scope. Well said. And already we are strapped for time, and so we have to cap it at this particular point, but I want to give you the last word, Hayley, and this in respect to how business was for you, or the challenges therein, and how you just found the environment. Why I ask that is because when you talk about expanding the tax bracket, the state is really trying a lot to leverage on the digital economy and the digital space. So very quickly, how was it for you as you got into this kind of sector, and basically as you got to the country?
So for us, like I've been mentioning throughout the entire time I've been discussing, in partnership with Humphrey and Anu AI, we've been able to kind of work with each other and coincide and figure out the proper ways to go about expansion and figuring out the right ways to grow and just move into the space. And so I think through that partnership, we've been able to work and find a way that works for us, and also realizing that the tax bracket and different growth opportunities that we need to be aware of, and the right way to go about that. So I think throughout our partnership and working together with my company and our leadership team, with Humphrey and his leadership team, really equips us to be in the right place, right time, be aware of the certain situations that are at hand, and to continue to push growth and create more jobs for people in Kenya.
I hear you. Well said, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
There's quite a lot we could have conversed about, but we are strapped for time, and so we have to finish at this particular point. Nonetheless, we appreciate your valuable inputs.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I have been speaking to Humphrey Mchuma to my far left, who is the founder in our AI Solutions, as well as Haley York, who is the director of marketing Next Door Photos. Of course, what has formed center of our conversation is looking at the opportunities that lie in the digital space, or if you may, the digital economy. Good place to end this conversation, but Good Morning Kenya continues after this breather. Stay with us.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Engine.
How do we hear? How do we see? What makes up the air we breathe?
Let's go.
It's technology.
Let's grow.
Science, you and me.
Let's go.
We're learning every day.
Let's ask, let's learn, and let's love. And don't forget to make it fun.
What happened?
There's nothing in here you can't find online. And all these headlines just put me to sleep. If anyone tomorrow acts like the intern did, they won't just be leaving the meeting room.
How dare he say my makeup choices can't even compare to a discount vendor?
He said my costume choices aren't up to red carpet standards.
Is that he doesn't like that all of us come across as unambitious.
What I hate now is that I have to put on a show for him now. I have to lie to him again and again. I have to convince myself there's only a few more lies left.
So then tell him now.
Abantu ba Mintombi Yamole. Your favorite Ekegusi station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest Kisi music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii, and its environs.
Minto FM.
I really tried to talk to him, but he was out of his senses. I know he will look for you. I don't want him to.
If he wants to talk to me, I have no problem with that. I'm not afraid of him, and I won't hide.
Is there anything you want me to do? No. Let him figure it out himself. He is old enough anyway, and the vet must know what he's getting himself into.
They are great musicians. I like them. Did you want to talk to me?
Matope usiwahi itwa na ujuu unaitiwa nini? Hapa kwani tunaishi kwa chesi ati mahali ukiambiwa fly over, you ask questions when you are flying above.
You fly under how high, unasema how high. Unajua huo mama kaya anatuangalianga anaona sisi ni kama ni slaves.
Hebu kaeni chini, mnasalimiana nini hapa? Mmekuja mmechelewa alafu mnaanza kusalimiana.
Ekai, papa yama.
Huyu mgeni anaitwa nani? Sijui lakini itaema ndevu.
Ekai papa ya, kama ndevu.
Difference between a 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and a 5 star hotel.
One star. Yani okay, 5 star is 5 stars inawaka kuliko 1 star.
Anasema nyota ndogo.
Nyota ndogo ni muimbaji.
Right from the start. If I have a lover, you gotta show me there's a future in this. You gotta show me something
To make it right, 'cause I need your arms around me every night.
For me in a reggae party with the Shida. Me have a drink in on me left and on me right and have a spliff of marijuana.
All right, welcome back. This is still Good Morning Kenya. My name is Ram Maguko. It's a pleasure being with you today. And if at all you're just joining us, you're in time for the next conversation of today. And we want to talk about how to safeguard children, safeguards for children living with disabilities. This is Family Check. And to help us in this particular discussion, to my far left, I am with Saumu Siraj. She is a chair for the Rotary District 9212 Sunshine Rally. And next to me is Zena Rashid, committee member for Rotary Sunshine. Karibuni sana.
Asante.
Welcome to the show. I'm happy and glad to have you today. And of course, to everybody watching, I know you may be having, some may be having trouble, coping when it comes to raising children with disabilities. Ask your questions. How can you be able to raise and live with a child living with a disability? What are some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to this particular subject matter? We welcome your feedback and thank you so much for being part of this conversation. And let me start with you, Saumu. Before we head over to the nitty-gritties, let's talk about the Rotary. What is it all about?
Thank you for having us here this morning. Rotary is just an international organization of volunteers, people who run businesses, they have their day-to-day jobs. Some are retirees who come together to do good in the community. We are over 1.4 million members around the world, started in Chicago in 1903, going strong with presence in over 200 countries worldwide. Wow. So we just come together to do good in different aspects. We have 7 focus areas. One is maternal, child and healthcare. That's why we're here. We have focus areas on basic education and literacy, water, sanitation and hygiene, peace and conflict resolution, environment and economic empowerment. In Kenya, we have quite a number of clubs, but we are clustered in districts. That's why you've had my title being Rotary District 9212, Sunshine Rally Chair. So our district encompasses Kenya, Ethiopia, South Sudan and Eritrea. So we work together that way. And
so Kenya is a district in itself?
No, we are part of a district, that district 9212.
Oh, 9212
Yeah.
in Kenya is a district?
Yeah, it's part of a district 9212. So we've been clustered together with Ethiopia, South Sudan, and Eritrea. Yeah. So, and we have somebody who manages the district. She's called a district governor. Currently, her name is Azeb Asrat, and she's from Ethiopia. Yeah.
And Zena, you're also committee member.
Yes.
You joined the Rotary.
Yes, I joined the Rotary in, I think, maybe 2015. It has been a great experience, and we're just giving back to the community. So now I joined the committee for Rotary Sunshine Rally. At least learning at Sound's feet because she's more experienced. Yeah, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Zena. And we shall be getting to know your experience as we proceed. But let me start with you, Saumu. And then I'll come to you, Zena, on the particular aspect of handling or safeguarding children living with disabilities, even as we stay with them. What are some of the things that parents need to consider, especially when dealing with a child living with a disability?
First and foremost, my emphasis would be that there's nothing wrong with having a child with a disability. The African culture for many years has always hidden children with disabilities, and that makes it very difficult even for the child as they are growing up. For those who are lucky to be allowed to grow up, we know families that have actually murdered children with disabilities thinking they are a curse.
Yeah.
Let's start from there.
And we need to really call it as it is. They are not cursed.
They are not cursed.
They are not cursed. They don't have any problem.
They are not cursed. They're amazing people. We have lived with them. I have worked with them. We have interacted with them over and over the years, and they are very amazing souls.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
So let's start from there. If you feel like your child has a disability, and this is something as a parent you need to watch the growth of your child. If they're having a challenge in maybe walking, speaking, already if they were born and you're told after a while that they are blind, so you quickly need to come to terms with it. First things first, get counseling on how to deal with this. You as a parent, the rest of the family members, especially the immediate family members or the nuclear members who will be living with this child, if they have other older siblings or relatives you stay with, they need to get counseling and be advised that this is okay and they can live with it. From there now, as a parent, now you take it upon yourself to learn everything that there is to learn about that disability the child has. You take them for a health assessment. And there are different facilities. In fact, most of the hospitals, both government and private, have a section where a child will be assessed, and then they'll figure out what disability they have. Remember, we have various kinds of disability. Most of the disabilities that people think are there is just the ones of being visually impaired, that's being blind, or physically handicapped. But then you see we have others in the neurodiversity spectrum where we have autistic children, children with Down syndrome, children with ADHD and things like that. Those ones now need further assessment.
Now, let me come to you, Zena. Your thoughts on the same when it comes to things to consider when taking care of a child living with disabilities. Maybe your input on the same. I love the fact that Saum is talking about us not discriminating against these children. Zena?
Yes. I didn't mention the fact that I'm visually impaired. And I wasn't born like that. It came later in life. But when it happened, I noticed the change in which people are treating me. Yeah? And it was really hurtful. People avoid you and they don't want to touch you because maybe you'll infect them with blindness, or
they think it's an infection.
Yeah, or you're cursed. They just push you like, oh my gosh, and that like now anyway. But they're somehow very supportive. But now I'm wondering, now for children, it's more difficult. And then there's bullying by other children. Your parents maybe want to reject you, but this child is still someone who has so much potential. It's just that maybe the way you teach them is different from others. So maybe I think parents who maybe discover that their child has a disability should maybe seek the larger community. Maybe if you know someone else who is blind or someone who has a child who is visually impaired, for instance, maybe go seek out and find out how can you teach your child better, or at least to enable them to live life to the fullest.
And these perceptions need to change. The transition must have been difficult, especially for you. The transition from you are used to living in a particular way, and now things are changing all at the same time.
It was tough. I was a person who loved art and sketching and watching rugby and watching movies. But now, when I lost my sight, I was wondering now, what am I going to do with about anything? And at least I went for rehabilitation, and there I learned life can go on. And I still like movies. There's something called audio description where they describe what is happening in the background. So I can still enjoy movies and discuss them with other people. But now, it's like, for example, the church, for instance. I was very happy to hear the first visually impaired priest recently. He was ordained recently. Because many churches believe to be on the altar, you have to be without blemish, which means to them a person with disabilities. So it's like they're saying you're made in God's image, but just not you, with disabilities. So
maybe you need to go through some process of healing.
So now, now if you accept your child and expose them to a lot, and then if they are able to learn in regular schools as opposed to special schools, take them to the regular schools. At least there they'll be molded and grow within a proper community.
Wow. Now, one thing that is coming out of this discussion, Sam, is that the mental well-being of this child or this individual that we are living with, this person living with disability, is something we need to consider. How best can we ensure that the mental their mental wellness is promoted, that they are mentally healthy?
So, by the way, mental is key even for you and I as we interact. What goes on in your mind is what translates in what you're doing out here. So it's like you've said, mental is very important. It needs to be taken care of. That means the support system the child first has to understand their circumstance. Like I said, they go through counseling and also seek professional help on how to handle that child. And then even now take it further. You have to, when the child is in a position to understand, you explain to them. But even as a child at 1 year or 2 years, as parents, there's a way they relate with you and you understand things, without really explaining in detail, but you understand. And then as you grow up now, you develop that relationship where they're able to explain to you things. But remember, we have children with the neurodiversity spectrum. They may not really be able to understand things in details. But there's a way you communicate with them. Like, see children with cerebral palsy, the ones who have extreme, they can't even move, they're just there. But as a caregiver or as a parent, you have to show them love. There's a way you show love physically, how you touch them, how you hold them. There's a way you communicate. If you visit centers that take care of children with cerebral palsy, you would understand that better. But if the children are loved, you can see they are happy, their faces are happy. They are not moving, but they're happy.
They're happy.
They are happier than the rest of us who are going on with our lives.
And they feel like someone is actually responding to their needs.
And you can see there's that just silent communication going on. So when we come to now, this other child maybe who just has a physical disability or a visual impairment, it's important that we encourage them every day that they're okay. They will be what they want to be. You even show them those. Nowadays with technology, luckily, we have amazing videos that encourage people what's going on. See this person, he's rich, he's gone, there's Olympics, there's Paralympics. If you want to engage in sports, there's music. If you want to engage in music, there's art.
I love even what Zina said. She can even watch movies.
She can watch movies, yeah, because you see, we have assistive devices. We have lots of technology, you know, software. Artificial intelligence is big. And some of us sit and just think life has stopped. Life doesn't stop. Yeah, there's so much that can be done.
I love that. Zana, your thoughts on the same? I love the fact that, you know, we have these structures around us, and all it takes is for us to just utilize them, use them, and take advantage of these particular structures. But people are not aware about their existence.
Yes.
Is that so, Zena?
It's so true. People, I think we need to have more persons with disabilities in certain fields. So at least, you know, just to inject that knowledge so that everyone has just a bit of information, so that it will really help. Like, for example, many people don't know blind people can use phones and laptops, and if you have apps, certain applications, and they really help you. Yeah. So now, if this person knows their child can do so much, if they have access to this, maybe it will make such a big difference. Maybe they think your child cannot just be a beggar or something. Yeah. Yeah.
It's important that even as talking about a child not being a beggar, the aspect of them being comfortable around you is a process.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yeah.
It isn't an immediate thing.
No.
It can't be achieved by the snap of a finger or within a day. It is not possible. How can you achieve that? How can a parent watching you today be able to achieve that aspect of comfortability, communication, and comfort within them, such that their child is free? Because some of them will withdraw. Isn't that so?
Yes.
Yeah. I think as a parent, I interact with a lot of parents who have children with disabilities. So it's important that first you pray for that patience and grace to be able to manage a child with a disability. Like, for those who've interacted with children with autism or ADHD, they may come out as brats, and those are just kids who have a disability, and they're a handful. But then there's a way you handle them very patiently, and you manage them, and they'll be fine. And you have to be part and parcel of their lives.
Is there a need for a professional to be, making home visits? Is there a need for consultations with a specialist or something?
Yeah, they have to do occupational therapy a lot. You have to go for counseling a lot. Then also your environment, the way you've set up, it has to be child safety in terms of how you've placed your furniture. There are things you have to be child-proof if you can afford it. Some things are very basic. If you're somebody who probably you liked having ornaments, etc., you do away with that. You sacrifice some of the luxuries that you were used to before you discovered your child has a disability, just to accommodate the child, so that you're not forever screaming to that child, don't touch this thing. This child has autism, they have ADHD, so they have that urge to do things. Get those things out of the way. It will not kill you not to have those ornaments, you know?
Yeah.
So the thing is just being flexible, being very patient, but most importantly, use the technology around us. Take as an extra mile, and do also research. Beyond seeing a professional to get information, there's a lot of free information online in terms of what you can do, how you can improve. Then we have those online community groups, whether in Facebook, Telegram, etc., where parents exchange, caregivers exchange, advise each other. Some meet virtually. Nowadays, the beauty about life nowadays is that you can meet virtually and discuss, exchange ideas, learn from each other. So it's a whole learning process. It changes your life, but I think it makes the life of this beautiful child that you have with you better and to become a very meaningful person in society.
All right. Then your thoughts on the same physical environment, how we can customize it to suit children living with disabilities at home and at work.
At work. Okay.
At home. I'm mentioning work because I'm coming there. Let's start with home first.
At home, it's important to take into consideration maybe the kind of disability your child has. It would be nice if maybe someone maybe has something to like grab on to, maybe to hold on to as they try and navigate, maybe avoid sharp edges, to avoid accidents. Just try, just even within your budget, just to make the place comfortable and injury free, even for just a child without disabilities. Yes.
And let's talk about the work aspect, because now that's where we're coming to. Because for you, you had a transition now.
Yes.
And work must have been affected in the first quarter of this transition. How was it now transitioning, and how can we now customize our work environment to suit persons living with disabilities, especially those who are going to work with their own children, because there are those who go to work with children living with disabilities.
Okay, and I'm aware many places these days have like daycare centers for parents with children. So it would be nice to at least train the minders on how to take care of the child with disabilities if they have special needs that need to be taken care of. Maybe even teachers, for example, nurses, especially those ones really need to know how to take care of children, and because they are interacting with them at such a intense level. So now at the workplace, it was challenging, but the good thing with my build where I work, for example, the lifts have announcers, so I can tell what floor I am on. Doors open, so at least I know I'm on the 5th floor. I just get out. But there's some places where it's quiet.
So quiet.
I wouldn't know even by myself, because you can't have a guide with you 24/7.
You only hear a ding only.
A ding, but you have no idea what floor that is. You'll get lost.
Just the bell.
Yes. And then I had to buy disability is very expensive. So for the laptop, a regular laptop, you have to use an application which has a screen reader, which is very, very expensive. But now, the good thing, I want to encourage employers. For example, if you hire someone with disabilities, and obviously they're going to make such an interesting contribution to your business. And I want to add that if any modifications you make to your business, 50% you can deduct from tax. So it's a win-win for and plus the salary you pay a person with disabilities, 25% is also deductible. So now, and then when you do that, when a person with disability, you need to take into consideration their needs. Brand loyalty among persons with disabilities is really fierce, and you'll gain persons who will really take advantage of, take your goods and services. Okay.
I get you. And I'm coming to you, Saumu, on the aspect of opportunities, because we need to ensure that opportunities are there for all. Not just for a chosen few in the society. Even children and persons living with disabilities, opportunities need to be there. Equal opportunities for them. How far are we in terms of bridging this gap, especially in the country today?
We've had great strides over the years. Actually, for me, after I joined Rotary 11 years ago, when I joined Rotary, I joined a program that normally hosts an event every year for children with disabilities. So it's called Rotary Sunshine Rally.
Looking forward to it this year.
Yeah, we have it. We have it this year, and this year at least we've devolved it a bit. On 25th of February, we have it in Kisii. 4th of March, we have it in Nairobi Jamhuri Grounds. 18th of March, we'll have it in Kirinyaga. So this is an event we bring in together children with disabilities, make them, just entertain them, feed them, give them gifts, make them feel loved. You know that psychosocial support. That's what we are trying to do. And create awareness out there. When we're having this event, we are trying to create awareness out there just to make the world know that these are amazing people. We should just show them love like the rest. They have a right to education, healthcare, employment opportunities, and etc. So, and I've been a member of that Sunshine Rally committee for the last 11 years. So I've seen the great strides that even the government has made in terms of creating opportunities for persons with disabilities. Right from parliament, where there has to be at least 10 representatives in the parliament committee, and then two at national. Then now there's some rights, some bills have been passed, like the one that Zena just mentioned. So opportunities have been created, but there is much more. Like for a person with disability, getting assessment, healthcare assessment, or even normal healthcare, it's a challenge. Already these guys are, I mean, disability and poverty go hand in hand. Can the government have a special like healthcare package for persons with disability? That would be amazing. Let's just start from healthcare.
I echo you on that. I echo you on
and
that.
I know they've been pushing on special education. I don't think they're taking it too seriously, but I hope things will get better. Now,
let me come to you, Zena. You can give your thoughts in regards to the opportunities, but also touch on one aspect that Saum was mentioned, the legal rights of persons living with disabilities, even as you also air in your view on the opportunities for them.
As much as the legal right now encompasses so much, now the laws give these children the right to education, to healthcare, to live with their family, to do everything that's in the best interest of the child. And this includes, obviously, children with disabilities. And at least these for example, okay, what someone was saying that it's a challenge. It really is, and but we're like, okay, I'm a board member for the National Council for Persons with Disabilities, and we've been having negotiations with county directors, and it was a big issue, and talking about the cost of healthcare. So at least for assessment, many counties have decided to either waive the fee or reduce it to, like, to some counties it was 2,000 shillings. So it has been reduced to like 200 shillings. So at least that's a step we're making. But we still have a long way to go. And now there, you get to see one of the functions of National Council is to give legal advice to persons with disabilities. And there you see there's so much discrimination that people are facing, and they don't have access to basic things even that you need to navigate life, or to even have employment opportunities. So at least there we can manage to give you pro bono services, and we also encourage other advocates to sign up to do the same.
And do the same.
Yes.
I want us to bring this conversation to a close on that particular point. And let me give you just 10 seconds to have a final word, 20 seconds to have a final word, Saumu. Talk to Kenyans today, even as we wrap this up. What will be your parting shot?
Well, my parting shot is that persons with disabilities, having a disability is not an inability in life. And therefore we must embrace persons with disability.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Zena, parting shot, just 10 seconds.
Disability is a club anyone can join at any time. So just be loving.
Be loving.
As much as you can.
Asante sana. That is Zenaz Rashid and Saumuri Siraj. Thank you so much for coming, ladies.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure.
Same here.
Pleasure.
And that is what brings us to the end of Good Morning Kenya this fine Monday morning. I hope you've learned something. I hope you're blessed. Thank you so much for sticking with us. My name is Ram Maguko, and we hand you over to the other side. Of course, the news check is coming up in a bit. Thank you so much for sticking with KBC Channel 1. May God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands. Have a fantastic day.
Maisha ni mafupi, hivyo si vyema kumaliza muda mwingi katika malumbano. Hesabu baraka zako, wathamini rafiki zako na tabasamu ili udumishe amani.
Kupata maisha, bonyeza *811 *816 *811 *816
Matope usiwahi itwa na ujuu unaitiwa nini? Hapa kwani tunaishi kwa chesi ati mahali ukiambiwa fly over, you ask questions when you are flying above.
You fly under how high, unasema how who. Unajua huo mama kaya anatuangalianga anaona sisi ni kama ni slaves.
Hebu kaeni chini, mnasalimiana nini hapa? Mmekuja mmechelewa alafu mnaanza kusalimiana.
Ekai, papa yama. Huyu mgeni anaitwa nani?
Sijui lakini itaema ndevu.
Ekai papa yama ndevu.
Difference between a 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, and a 5-star hotel.
One star. Yani okay, 5 star is 5 stars inawaka kuliko 1 star.
Anasema nyota ndogo.
Nyota ndogo. Ni muimbaji.
At your border crossing captured a person of interest. Tunaamini kwamba Imran Saidi ndio Burhan's new bomb maker.
Tulikuwa na Burhan's new bomb maker na tukamwachilia.
Jamaa hakuna itilafu yoyote hapo chini, sawa?
Tukishajua pale ameshikwa